Vamos lá, né, mano? Falta 8 minutos. 8 minutos. Eu tô morrendo de sono, velho. Morrendo de sono. E olha no que deu. E aí, Arthur, dinossauro, como é que vocês estão? Nossa, velho. Acordar meio-dia, domingo, morto de sono. Olha a vida, velho. Olha a vida. Meu Deus, mano. Sono, 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 sono. O NE é quantas horas? O NE é 6, 7 horas, 6 horas. 6 horas o NA. Fazer aposta. Fazer aposta. Fazer aposta agora. Vamos lá. Isso aqui é o quê? América do Sul? É dos cavalos ou não, né? F. F. Ué, mano. F cavalo, velho. Cavalo perdeu. E aí, Davi, como é que você tá, mano? Cavalo perdeu, mano. RCN. F cavalo, mano. Marruecos. Vixe, mano. Quem que é esse time aqui? Quem que é esse time aqui? Quem que é esse time aqui? Quem que é esse time aqui, velho? Na moral, mano. Que mané time é esse aqui, velho? Que time é esse, mano? Que jogador que é esse jogo? Mano, que jogador tem esse time aqui, velho? Cadê o... Eu já tô com 3.000 pontos, pra que eu tô apostando? Eu já tô com 3.000 pontos, mano. Ah, vou apostar nisso aqui, vai. Eu vou vir aqui, ó. Aqui, ó. Já tô com 3.000 pontos. Ué, mano, velho. Ué, cadê minha aposta, mano? F aposta. Que é isso aqui, velho? Eu não tava com 3.000 ontem, mano. Ah, tá de sacanagem, velho. Como assim, pô? Ó, mano, o site tá me roubando, mano. Lalão, velho, ladrão, velho. Ladrão, mano. Site de ladrão safado, velho. Que isso aqui, pô? Na moral, velho. Ó, o Brawl me roubando na cara dura, mano. Brawl me roubando e olha no que deu. Brawl me roubando e olha no que deu, velho. Deixa eu ver a outra conta aqui também pra ver se tá com 3.000. Se não tiver com 3.000... Vamos ver a outra conta. A outra tá com 3 mil. A outra conta tá com 3 mil, ó. A outra conta tem 3 mil. Ué. Não entendi não. Entendi não. Isso que demorar pra postar. Olha isso, velho. Não saiu minha aposta. F aposta, mano. F aposta. E cadê o Brawlzão aqui? Aqui, ó. F Brawlzão. Clash Royale tá igual ao Brawl, sem jogador. Acho que vai ser rápido, Rafa. Até 3 horas acaba aqui. Acho que eu não vou ver da Argentina, eu só vou ver do Brasil. Eu só vou ver o do Brasil, pô. Sem som, tá vendo? Agora eu sei o porquê tá sem som. O passe tá R$70. Que site é esse? O Brawl Eventos. Já começou a transmissão já. Só falta começar o jogo. Falta o jogo. Dez minutos, 10 segundos, né? Aí. F música. F música.
Oh my word! What an incredible moment! Without further ado, let's
A
get
Super Renegados ganha, confia. Confia. Só falta ganhar.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Brawl Stars Championship, kicking off today in the South America region. I am Mark, joined today by my co-casters, Trav, and of course, Teddy. Let's start with you, Trav. We missed you yesterday over in EMEA, but it's great to have you back by our sides today. Where have you been?
Well, you know, I was over on the Asian region, but I'm thinking South America's more becoming my home. I've done more South America than I have Europe this year, and honestly, I'm quite pleased about it.
I had noticed, and I definitely resent you for that.
A Zeta já ganhou 2 mundiais. Com 2 times diferentes. Acho que só tem um jogador que ganhou os 2 mundiais, não? Só tem um jogador, mano. Dá pra ver aqui, ó, quer ver? Ó, ganhador do ano passado foi a Zeta Zero. A Zeta Zero é a Chape, Curu e Tensai. A Chape, Curu e Tensai. A Chape, Curu, aí ó. Tensai, a Chape. Tensai, a Chape, mano. F, Curu. F, Curu, mano. F, Curu.
We're picking things up off in the semi-final stages for both of these two regions. So there'll be 4 teams kicking off then, and it'll be best of 5 through the semi-finals into the grand finals. And here is the leaderboard for South America East. It is Zest who really are the Titans, raining down upon everyone else with 220.
Vai ganhar de novo. Eles estão com outro nome, Davi. Eles trocou o nome. Agora a Zeta é da Europa. Que Covid,
One singular point, and Super Renegado still trying to contest that number 3 spot. Some other ones to watch out for though, but in the semi-final stages, that's pretty much where the cluster is currently. And of course, the best place to watch will be over at event.brawlstars.com. That is where you can place your predictions and place your MVP of choice and all those wonderful things. Here's the bracket for today. Trav, maybe do you want to talk us through where we're going to be starting off in the semi-finals today?
Well, it's more of the same over here in the South American region. We see that Zest versus Super Renegados matchup once again, and then a bit of a revenge match possibly for Clash against Bando de Lucas down there in semi-final number 2. They're going to be looking to get their revenge and take that number 2 spot back off Bando de Lucas after they had it robbed off them last month.
And DeLucas, of course, had a great month, but can they do it again? That is the question. And will Zest be knocked off their throne? We're about to find out very, very shortly. We've done our predictions here in the studio. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but make sure that you're doing yours over at event.brawlstars.com as well. Sync your game there. Make sure you get those in.
Os caras me copiando, velho.
And it looks like, guys,
Os caras me
we are
copiam,
all on
mano.
the same page. No deviations whatsoever.
E copiando a cara dura e olha no que deu.
Through for, on our total behalf as to what we've done and why.
Well, Zest have been winning everything so far, so we're just assuming they will continue doing just that. On the side of Clash versus Bandos de Lucas, it's a bit more interesting, to be honest, because it was BDL who took the victory last
Hoje é semifinal e final, hoje é semifinal e final. Quem quiser entrar no sorteio da skin aí, mano. Sorteio da skin do coach lá no Instagram, mano.
And we're hoping that things are, coming back in order for this month.
Yeah.
Perfectly put, gotta say. And yeah, it's a bit of an unpredictable region sometimes. I think that Zest are
Sorteio.
looking still very, very strong, but as we saw already in
Skin do
EMEA
coach.
so far,
É coach macaco ou coach banana o nome do bicho?
were knocked off
É
their
coach
throne there,
macaco,
and that
né?
could very well be the case today. We're hoping for ourselves that it's not. Ultimately, we are locking our predictions here for the entirety of the day, whereas in other regions we've kind of been able to deviate depending upon who's playing. So
Aí.
we're locked in, guys. We're going down either together, no doubt about it. As we get geared up, of course, for our first match of the day, it's going to be Zest versus Super Renegados, and that is going to be a banger. Do stick around for it. Teddy, we're going to wave goodbye to you just temporarily. I mean, Trav going to take the lead on this one. Trav, first
O
and
torneio é
foremost,
que horas? É
let's
quando
start with
acabar
Zest.
aqui,
Talk us through
mano.
their roster.
Well, we're going to be seeing Motep, Pekka, and
Quando
Pyro
acabar
take
aqui.
the field today. Absolutely incredible roster at the moment. On the other side of things, Super Renegados, Doritos. I believe it's Javier on screen, JBR, but he's put a little bit more in there. This
Torneio
time.
de
Motep,
combate,
Pekka,
de
and Pyro.
combate,
So
mano.
focus down on this roster, though. They really have been the titans of this region for the past couple of months, and honestly, none of us doubt they're going to be able to do it again. They
Ó,
really
Motepão
are
aí.
so strong, and it's going to take a lot to knock them off the high horse today.
Got a great deal of
Motep.
confidence, haven't they? Really, they only dropped a singular set last month. Here we go then with Super Renegados, Doritos, Jubilaire, and Calbear as well. Again, not to say that this team have not got a chance at all. They've struggled a little bit though in the semi-finals. Last month they were swept by Zest, hoping to not have that same recurrence. They are a very, very talented team, but they have had the same matchup in the semi-finals since February and March. They've both faced off
Queria
against
ver o
this
Caio,
team,
o
Zest,
Cauã,
and
o
they've struggled
Cauê.
to gain a single set. Hopefully this month they'll have to have
Cauê é
a bit
um
of a different
paçocão que
situation
tem
upon
vários
them.
amigos do
Again,
WhatsApp
that's
que
what all
entrega as
soldiers
partidas
are
pra ele
about.
pra liga.
Preparation.
Esse aí é o Doritos, eu acho.
Couple of new maps
Esse
in
é o
that pool as
Doritos,
well.
mano.
That always shakes things up. Of course,
Na minha ideia, eu não quero que o Cauê ganhe não, mano. O cara é safado, pô. Pra que eu vou torcer pra ladrão, mano? O dia que eu torcer pra ladrão, eu voto L, mano. Sério. O dia que eu começar a torcer pra safado, eu voto L.
Mr. P got a new gear as well, so maybe we'll see some of that come back into the forefront. But based upon what we've already seen from other regions and what we already know with regards to those new changes, what are you kind of expecting to see today?
I mean, we've got to be seeing a lot of Meg, probably a lot of Amber as well, but at the same time, the South America region usually is.
Todos jogam por iPad, depende. No Mundial que é obrigatório. No Mundial eu acho que é iPad ou tablet da Samsung, depende do patrocínio. Só que aqui não tem patrocínio ainda não, então pode jogar de celular ou tablet.
It could all affect it, and it means that Zest might not be sitting as comfortably as they were in the past couple of months.
It's all about adaptations, isn't it, really? And we saw already yesterday in the EMEA and, you know, the APAC region as well, and the running riot. As you first mentioned that, I think we've got to come back around to it. You know, that epic, or rather the mythic gear of sticky oil now. You know, players are just leaving that oil slick on the map. They're not really utilizing it to cause damage, just simply to have that 20% slow come into a full effect, and also a couple of, you know, epic gears coming into the equation now for
o olho desse cara é bom, né, mano? O olho dele é azulzão, mano. Ou se eu tivesse olho azul seria chatão. Olho azul, olho verde, olho roxo, olho vermelho, mano. Nossa, velho. Qualquer olho assim diferenciado, você tá doido. Eu já sou chato sem olho azul. Imagina de olho azul, velho. Nossa senhora. Olho azul seria o meta. Quem aí da live tem olho azul ou verde, mano? É 10% que eles falam, mais ou menos. Eu acho que é 10 ou 9%. Ou é 5%. Tem muita gente que tem olho azul e verde. O olho é castanho, velho. Castanho escuro. Tristeza. Olho castanho escuro ainda.
So I don't know if it's kind of like a little bit of a bad thing that their meta is not really the one that people gravitate towards when the whole world comes together.
Eu fico com olho roxo todo dia na escola.
These little better comps, but I'm always kind of left surprised when I watch these.
Parece com o Felca, eu não conheço o Felca, não.
Just seems to be a little bit more aggressive, just a little bit weirder for this region, and you know I don't know if that's going to.
Ah lá, pô, o olho do cara, mano, azulzão, velho, que da hora, mano. É que o cara é feio. O cara é feio. Ele tem a genética boa e é carecão. Tem as entradas e tem olho azul.
But I think we're hearing that the bans for Zest were Carl, Artie, and Penny, and the bans for Super Renegadas were Stu, Max, and Meg. And I think ultimately banning that Meg, you know, and the Max, Penny, these are brawlers that at the moment really are riding very high in the forefront of the
Esse do lado é o BR Pro Master, né, o Rafa, que você falou aí, ó. Esse é o BR.
We haven't really seen that this month in competitive, and especially in APAC. I'm not
sure. O olho compensa o resto.
Europe, but throughout APAC this month, it really just wasn't seen at all. And in comparison to the second month when it first came into competitive, it was very strong. A lot of people were jumping onto this idea and playing that brawler, but it seems like after that balance change, it has just had a little bit of a hit.
Brasil sempre é o time que atrasa, né, mano? Cadê os jogos? Os caras foi cagar, mano. Os caras foi no banheiro e tá atrasando o jogo aí, ó. Foi no banheiro e atrasou o campeonato. O Mentalista, eu acabei de assistir Origem, mano, é muito bom. Eu acabei anteontem. Origem é uma série de suspense barra terror com uns enigmas em uma cidade que você tem que pensar sobre. É da hora, mano. Quem quiser ver, lançou mês passado. Ou esse mês, eu não lembro bem. Muito bom. O P.E.K.K.A pegou o Bozão, muito beat. Otis, Janete. Parece a minha liga isso aqui, né? Os caras pegou os Brawl tudo da minha liga. Pô, 8-bit, Otis. No lugar do 8-bit seria a Max, mas eu não vi se baniu. Não, baniu a Max. A Max estava banida. No lugar do 8-bit seria... Seria o Gênio. Seria o Gênio, mano. F.
Gems will go into the pocket of Firecrow just about, hesitantly going for the 6th one there, but not the best things for Zest. P.E.K.K.A seems pretty much
3-6.
unfazed by it though, and will surely get back to business, but it will mean that those gems
Ó,
will be
Tapman Janete. Mano, eu descobri que que a Nicole é o Motep, capa, e olha no que deu. Ou eu sei o nome da Nicole tá no vídeo do VTzinho, mano. Eu esqueci o nome, eu acho que é o William. Ou é o Wilson. O nome da Nicole é um nome nada a ver, mano. Errou a ult. Morreu.
It will be able to be re-picked up by Motep, but that was a very close shave, and valuable time is being trickled down now as Super Renegade has tried to delay the onset here. They're not going to be able to get
É só ela voar.
É
só voar, mano.
And he can take to the skies at any moment in time, and he does time it with a little gadget there as well. Plenty of time trickling down for Zest to take the first game.
I mean, although they had a bit of a reset, they had a few hiccups here and there, it seemed to me quite convincing. They had control of the mid pretty much throughout the entire game. They had, you know, as I said, a few hiccups.
É Silas. O nome dele é Silas.
Maybe retreated just a little bit too early, but at the same time, they looked pretty calm and composed even when recollecting those gems.
O nome da Nicole é Silas, mano.
There we go again. I agree. I would like to see more from the Daryl as well this time round. They're swapping lanes, so Jubilee believes that he's going to get a better matchup against the Janet. I don't know how convinced I am, but ultimately the HP is going to be big and force back Motive out of position. Firecrow in the meanwhile taking a lot of damage on that right-hand side as a result of Calvish sticky shots. Heka though,
F Janet de ult.
and plays down some mind space troubles, giving some good value clearly and able to. Oh, he actually will go down there. I thought he might be able to survive it, but no, not going to happen. Those gems being most.
Os cara é bom, né, mano?
Be probably the best person to have. I mean, Firecrow, you know, is probably not ideal to have them if you're going to have them anywhere else other than the gem carrier. I would go with the Janet.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really too bad for any of these players.
Jubileu.
I will say for the side of Zest, and that's what I like about their
Jubileu é o corvo do pica-pau, não é?
Don't really have to go aggressive. It's a very control-based comp playing at this range. Doritos just going to be walking over a few of these mines now, just baiting them out, and Daryl doing the same. And it is 5-3, so a little bit closer than the last one, but extending it to 6 and 7 as Pekka goes for those. But actually, he's going to fall down and drop all of them. Motep trying to retrieve does and gets the flight away, but that's going to cost a bit of control.
Yeah, perfect play there from Motep. He had to. Plugged in star power, but Doritos allowed a very easy triggering of the mines. As Jubilee rolls in, Firecrow just about staying alive there, but only
esse cara tem muita noção de jogo. Eles têm, só que não é comparado aos caras da Ásia ainda. Eu ainda acho que os caras da Ásia é melhor, mano. Vocês viram o campeonato da Ásia ontem? Os caras da Ásia são muito bons, mano. Tipo, os 4 times da Ásia são os 4 melhores times do mundo, na minha opinião. Os 4 times de lá.
It is a bit of a scrappy game here, Trap.
Yeah, they seem to be letting Firecrow fend for himself, and he does actually get that Daryl down. This turret not placed in the best spot either. That should be a quick sweep up for Firecrow. 3 shots, and he's got nothing to TB back to. The mine's hit, and Firecrow's going to pick him up. Super there as well, a mine on top of that also. And Javier is just not able to do too much. He keeps
Aqui acabou.
away, but during this time, Zest have been all over that gem spawner. They're not going to be able to even out from the side here. They've just got 10 to 9, 11 now, and I think that's going to tie it up if he can just stay alive, and he does. He's got the fly.
E olha que nem os 4 times vai pro Mundial, é só 2 de lá. Só 2 dos 4 melhores times do mundo vai estar no Mundial. Paulo zicando o próprio país. A Zest eu não quero que ganhe o Mundial não, mano. Eu prefiro que o time do VTzinho ganhe. Se o time do VTzinho não ganhar, mano, agora os times do Brasil tá todo torto, velho. É ver o time do Pitch. O time do Pitch tem um safado. Eu acho que foi ele, mano, que falou coisa errada. Se foi ele que falou coisa errada, eu não vou votar no time do Pitch nunca mais, mano. O time do Fire é time que faz time em campeonato oficial. Eu votar em cara que faz time em campeonato oficial é pra eu morrer, né, mano? Aí sobrou o time do VTzinho, mano. O time do VTzinho é o Tufa. Eu não sei se o Tufa fez timinho no campeonato oficial de 2021, mano. Aí eu não sei se ele fez timinho no campeonato de 2021, tem que lembrar. Se ele fez, eu não voto nele também não, mano. Aí acabou os times do Brasil, Brasil não tem time bom, acabou, Vou votar em quem?
Yeah, a rough game, a rough start there. Super Renegados gonna have to take on the learnings going into Heist now for Hot Potato and try to pick things up again. They struggle to get a single set against Zest since the entirety of the season so far. They do need to get one on the board.
Humilde, aí eu não sei, mano.
Really kind of feel like they stand
Não conheço ele.
taking this win home. But a new draft, a new chance to be able to relinquish things, and I think in Heist as well, it's one of those more unpredictable modes. Bans are in as well already. Dynamite was banned on the right side there. As well as the
Uma coisa que eu posso dizer pra vocês é que vocês não confiam em ninguém da internet que você não conhece. Tem muita gente na internet que finge ser boa pessoa. Eu só digo isso.
Kind of what we expect to see from Zest, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily the first pick brawler for Hot Potato.
Yeah, it doesn't really have the angles in my eyes. It doesn't have the capability to throw over walls, bounce around them, anything like that. Have a very good peek either. So it makes definitely
Max é roubo. É roubo.
And I like that a lot. I think the Penny's just so good here. When you can get the mortar, place it in one of those pockets and have it rain down on the opponents and the safe alike, it really does start to get some control and add that fourth member to the team. Still some availability of a few of these models. Obviously Nita not going to be one of them, but you've seen Jesse slotted into competitive that little bit more recently. Otis going to be picked up by
Max, Penny,
Otis. And we're back to Zest for their second and third picks.
I like the Otis. It's kind of like a safe pair of hands, just in the eventuality that Zest do decide to bring in something of a tankier option, but got some decent range to it. Good gadget as well to follow up there with Fat Splatter. So Penny as well, with the new gear, with Pet Power coming in, 20%.
Banil Dyna, MZ, Colette, Nita, Ruffles e Stu. Bibi, Barley. Ninguém quis pegar Barley, olha que o Fire tá aí, mano. Ah, mano, eu sou vidente, pode falar, pô. Pode falar.
They're going to obviously have to be considerate around where the Otis lies and trying to make sure that they swap lanes and try to evade it, because ultimately that mute will leave BB as just a sitting dark. Final pick coming in, Super Renegados. Do they want to go for range, something in the mid more than the Otis, or they want to have something more defensive? Spike wouldn't be a bad shout to really double down on that BB, as that can tend to be
acho que eles perdeu. A Zesh 2-0 aqui, eu acho.
I mean, I haven't really seen it yet.
2-0, mano.
It's not a bad pick by any means. It can work for Hot Potato for sure. I feel like it's better suited in other heist maps personally, but it is going to provide the same impact as the BB, having something of just a tank to be able to force their way forwards and try to bring back control and go aggressive onto the safe. I don't mind it. I think I actually prefer the BB there here myself.
See, I was going to say the opposite. I kind of like the Daryl a little bit more. I feel like Renegados have maybe just got a few more answers to the BB than what the Zest have to the Daryl. And yeah,
BB eles é melhor. A Meg tá banida, tá não, mano. A Meg tá banida não. Mas a Meg é boa na zona, mano. Não sei se no roubo ela é muito boa, não.
FICO can abuse these walls as much as he should be doing, because I mean overall I kind of like Zest got more, but in that tank matchup I think the Daryl maybe should be doing a little bit more.
Mano, o Fire não foi de BB. O Fire não foi de BB, mano.
Especially when you consider that Shelly now had a substantial speed buff. I mean, going from normal speed to very fast now. I mean, that is something which we've yet to kind of see show its face in competitive, even yet the fact that it's a hard counter effectively. A lot of back and forth already though. And more damage being dealt by Zest.
40%.
Super Renegados is safe. In fact, now Pekka completely uncontested. 36% is all that is left, and just to the 17% damage dealt out by Super Renegados onto theirs. Very aggressive game going on so far. Let's be honest, back and forth.
Perderam, hein, mano.
I mean, it's down to FICO to defend, and I'm not sure how well he's going to be able to against that Daryl.
Acho que perderam.
Like that's going to be defendable. The roll as well, but they do get the cleanup. They need to keep these penny shots off safe. They need to keep the mortar off safe. It's really, really difficult to do just that. He's going to get the shots, but he's not going to find the blow onto the ridges that'll bring him down. And they are going to take the first game.
Torneio da skin não é aqui, mano, aqui no YouTube.
Love to see it. It's been a long time coming. I did think
Só não é nessa live.
Kind of game mode that could cater towards it. It's very unpredictable sometimes when you get those base race moments.
Meg tá banida no torneio.
Let's see though whether they can actually gain that set.
Aí eu não sei. Tem que pensar.
A great opportunity there for Pekka.
A Meg é full combatão, né, mano? Vamos banir Meg do torneio? Meg é roubadão, velho. Os caras vai full Meg no combate, mano.
Yeah, a little bit of an answer back now, but Pekka duking nicely with that.
F live. F live. Live foi de vala.
Too much for Zest to defend here. 3v1, they really need to get Otis down. He's the one who's low and he's the one.
F live de novo, a live foi de vala. Live dos caras só vai de vala. 30 a 30.
Considering Vicro's still up on save, they need to be focusing on the safe the whole time. Penny turrets established as well, and they are very, very low, and Pekka might be able to get this defense.
It was low, Doritos goes down, Pekka just trying to take out the turret, in the meanwhile, that roll is strong, just 2%, 1%, and that is surely going to be done. Super Renegade is finally get a set against Zest, and that opens the door wide for a potential upset.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Renegados come just overwhelmed them. They made the right decisions when to leave, they made the right decisions when to defend, and they just played it really, really smart. BRAWL did a lot more in this one than he did in the Hard Rock mindset, I'll tell you that, and it was so much damage, not only by him, but Penny and Otis as well, who just stayed of...
Paulo zicou a Zest. Agora é zona, mano. Será que eles vão banir a Meg? Agora é a zona.
Always in highest is the key, and just Super Renegados managed to do that far better than Zest there. They just dropped the ball a little bit, and maybe that kind of like, you know, confidence that we saw in that first set, and that like calmness actually that we saw from Zest, maybe a bit premature now. That we look at things, and Super Renegados clearly been putting in a bit more time. The draft, like I said, is looking really, really good today, and that's always a good sign. More than not, if you get the draft right, then it just comes down to your thumbs, and ultimately, that is where a lot of the battles can be won and lost anyway. But I like the decision-making primarily for Super Renegados in that game, and it does make things a bit more interesting now.
Yeah, we'll make it 1-1, and Super Renegados actually having a bit of a fight up against Zest this
time. Só a Meg no
the
torneio.
Of this region so far, just walking away with it once again. This is pretty much all up in the
acho que eu vou banir a Meg mesmo, mano. Eu fui jogar de Meg no combate e só tinha Meg, mano. Só tinha carinha de Meg rodando, igual maluco. Ainda mais naquele negócio do cachorro quente lá. O negócio do cachorro quente só tinha Meg. É só ir de colete.
Yeah, I think Cowbell was stealing those kills, wasn't he, really, when you look at the DPS? Definitely exposed for me. But yeah, a very, very high scoring round. All for RT, really, and something to consider. But perhaps now things will get back down to a more commonplace. We shall see. This is definitely, for me, a bit more of a Zest map and mode. Ring of Fire coming in for Hot Zone. And I just hope that someone's bringing in the Meg ban. That's all I can say for this one. Because ultimately, if it's not banned, I'm pretty confident that it will be picked. I'm surprised to have actually not seen it yet in the two sets that we've seen, as it's was always something that we saw yesterday in EMEA. It is banned out. Good for Super Renegados in that respect. Stu going to come in for Zest. Have a ban.
Baniu Meg lá, ó. Baniu Corvo, RT, Penny, Meg, Max, Amber.
For me as well. Let's see what the follow-up is.
Griff.
Super Renegados. Griff. Don't know how convinced I am with that.
Pega Bia.
Early draft, especially when
Griff e Bia.
But let's see whether that is the follow-up idea.
Quiser pegar pouco Stu.
It would be a good pairing, although I'm not.
Acho que é pouco Stu pra Zest. Griff e Bia pro outro lado. Ufos. Griff e Bia, aí ó, Griff e Bia. Outra é Stu e pouco. Stu pouco e mais um. O outro vai ser Stu pouco e Otis. Stu pouco e Spike. Stu pouco e Pan. Stu pouco e... Belly. Bellyzão meio. Pouco Stu.
Combat this B in the mid, but they're going to go with Bow yet again. It worked for them before. It worked on a Hard Rock Mine, but
e o pouco? Desistiu do pouco por causa da Bia? F pouco. Os caras baniu o Corvo, pegou Stu e não pegou pouco. Se não pegar pouco aqui é por causa da Bia. F pouco por causa da Bia, mano. Trocou a estratégia. É o Otis. Trocou a estratégia por causa da Bia, mano.
more often than not can cause a big stir. I did love, by the way, as I know you were casting Trav in North America for the Snapdragon Pro Series when OG was playing Leon on this particular map. And it just goes to show how that brawler is still so prominent here. Not entirely convinced that it will be the one that Super Renegado's pick, but it definitely is very, very viable now in this particular
Carletão ou Janete? Carleta ou Janete aqui.
Kind of drifted away slightly more into the realms of Shooting Star.
Aí, ó, Janete.
Janet coming in for the Renegados. I really like that pick. Kind of forgot a little bit about Janet there.
Parece eu jogando liga, mano. Os cara pique igual minha liga, mano. Os caras escolhem os BRAWL igual eu jogando liga, velho. Nem parece que eles jogam liga, né? Eles pegam o meta da liga do Brasil. A comp dos caras é full liga, mano.
I think I would side with this one also. I think it's just so well rounded. The versatility that Janet brings to the table. B's good against pretty much any brawler at the moment. And Griff, if they can get the right wall breaks, then it's going to be a very good comp. And obviously all of these walls still can be broken as well. No unbreakable walls in sight. So they're very open to sculpting this map.
An early speed zone down there for Motep. Getting some good shots as well on Doritos. In the meanwhile, a good pinch between Pekka and Firecrow is causing a big problem up top right. Now, pushing back towards the mid. Honeycomb play for Jubileu there as well. A swift takedown as the amplified shot connects. Pushing forwards again, triggering the mines along the way, and it's a good start actually for Super Renegados, but the objective.
Eu não acho que o Griff foi uma boa escolha aqui, não. Ele pegou o Griff por causa da Bia, mas eu não acho que o Griff seja uma boa escolha, mano. Ainda mais primeiro pick de Griff. Agora a Janete e a Bia é muito boa. Aí Griff, mano.
He takes down the B once again. Firecrow up top as well. Might have been able to get that trade there if it wasn't for the star power of the Griff. And does get the trade out, but Doritos sitting in a nice position. A few gasser heals from Motep keeps him alive and keeps him in the mix. Boat mine there as well, going to be juked out by.
Entra pra bando de loucos.
As well, but some of this grass is being broken up, and that's going to be even harder for them to.
Você tá maluco? Tá maluco?
Yeah, it's exactly what you want to have. Really, it's just a bit more of an awareness as to where people lurk in that bushy area. So it's really blowing things wide open. Those deep mines going to be helping out so much. It's already a huge lead, 90%, just 10% remaining now for this first game. Possessed, they lose control over the situation here. Too much catching up to do for Super Renegados.
Quer da abóbora, abóbora, né, mano?
Far more comfortable than they were previously in Heist.
I mean, it really is back and forward and then back again, because I mean, it was what Zest were doing in the first game. It seemed so convincing in Gem Grab, then Heist all kind of fell apart, and then now we're in Hot Zone. It's back to being all Zest again, and that was domination, 100% to 20. They really didn't have much of a look in on the zone, and it didn't even seem like the lanes were that convincing either. There was a few answers from some of the Super Renegados members, but the Bow was doing really well against the B in mid.
Yeah, Pekka's got his juking feet on today, as everyone really on the side of Zest in that early outset, but now Motep takes a few too many shots and is forced back as the drop of the base goes down as well. Doritos low, Motep almost got some value there, but Doritos saw it coming.
O Jubileu tá de escudo ou dois ataques?
Gotta force themselves out towards that far left-hand side a bit more.
Acho que ele tá de dois ataques, né?
To break the bush earlier than last game too.
Eu não vi, é escudo, ele tá de escudo, mano.
Firecrow just trying to find cover, but can't. Muted out there to Hubo, which is a really good play for him, and actually the poison will trickle down as well. So Zest seems still firmly in control. Look at the objective capture, almost 50% already.
Yeah, I mean, they have been playing it pretty passively as well. It's not like they're forcing this zone. They've just been getting.
Mano, as bombas do Bo ninguém cai. Ninguém cai nas bombas do Bo, mano.
Pushing aggressively, but Fat Splatter's going to shut him up and then put him back in spawn with a nice flurry of shots from Firecrow, and Cowben now trying to take out Motep, but they've got 70% worse than in the previous game, and Pekka's
já acabou, aqui já acabou, mano.
Yeah, to say Super Renegados is struggling would be a bit of an understatement here. This has been one of the most convincing hot zones since we've seen for a very long time. And the Raiders behind the back line is just trying to make something happen, but it's not going to be the case as Motep just dancing around the situation and getting good shots for his troubles. The Raiders 90 HP and in the sky can't really land and really provide anything at all. 100% to 14.
Essa aqui foi fácil, mano.
As convincing as it gets, and Motep knows it.
I mean, just as we were starting to think that Zest might have had someone to actually face them, to, you know, oppose them in this region, they've quickly shut that idea down and dominated them in hot zone after being pretty much dominated in heist. Not the right look for Renegados.
Essa foi fácil. Agora é futebol.
They needed to try and keep that momentum flowing and get sets against Zest that they wouldn't usually get and take it by storm, but now it's just completely flipped the direction, and it seems like Zest might close it out in the fourth.
It really was the big question coming into Hot Zone, wasn't it? Whether was Heist just that kind of game mode where it took Zest a bit by surprise, and I think now the skill of the players.
O jogo da Kelesh, bando de loucos, começa 1 hora. Começa quando essa aqui acabar, mano.
Their normal form, didn't they? They looked much more comfortable. Their control game was better.
Era Bia Fish, mas foi Bia, pô. Foi Bia e Griff. O Griff foi pego por causa da Bia. Os caras pegou Griff e Bia junto, mano. Só que a Bia cauterou um pouco que os caras iam pegar. O Griff ajuda a Bia, só que ele foi inútil no jogo. O Griff é bom quando tem tanque. Quando tem um tanque, o Griff é muito bom, mas não teve tanque. É igual quando você pega Ashe e os caras abrem o mapa de Ruffles e Griff. Aí acabou o jogo. E aí, Cauã, como é que você tá, mano?
Yeah, great round for Pekka, wasn't it? Really. Zest's got to be feeling very much at home now. 2 sets in the bag. Will it be a third to round things off? Super Renegados have done better this month than they have in any of the previous months in the semi-finals so far. I've got to remember that. And that could well open the door to a 5th and final set if they can just start to bring things a bit more back down to earth and take care of the problems at hand. That's the thing. They're not really kind of taking care of one particular person and then focusing, you know, 3 versus 2 against someone else.
Igual Watches.
Kind of going in all alone as lone wolves, and you can't really do that in what is a team game.
Vai vir da América do Sul, só do Brasil? Acho que só do Brasil, Rafa.
Still there.
E só do Brasil,
I think Super
mano.
Renegados might be a bit in trouble. We just need to see a bit more from them so far to be more convinced of that 5th and final set being a possibility here.
O vácuo de cobra. E aí, mano, como é que você tá, mano? Só do Brasil, mano. A América, não sei se eu vejo, não.
We know that momentums can be pretty much shut down on this map by multiple draws, those unbreakable walls, you know, amplifying that as well. So passive, this map, but we gotta remember, it's an aggressive team, an aggressive
que compensa comprar o passe ou trocar o nick? Mas pra que você vai trocar o nick, mano? E o nick no Brawl não é meu nome. Compre o passe, mano. Compre o passe.
But it is still opening up a lot of doors for, you know, Zest to get what they're after. And RT is a great first pick.
Conseguiu o pin naquela madrugada.
As they have a bans with Stu and Max and Crow, Ruffs and Penny. B still available as well. Ham is also a viable option here on Backyard Bowl, and definitely wall breakers are something of a consideration too. As
que é DPS, dano por segundo.
They might need to open
dano
up
por
some
segundo,
space
mano.
there. They get locked in and RT goes to work. Despite that nerf to the super, it's still very much a threat.
É Dani second power.
Yeah, B coming in for them. Maybe even the bow as a response here coming in for Zest because they've been playing it in every single set.
É Dani second power mesmo, eu acho. Dano por segundo.
Explode your mines and just blow open the middle. It is much harder to defend when you've got to worry about the middle stages of the box being opened here.
Yeah, I would like a boat, to be fair, and obviously they have been playing it quite heavily as well, and a lot of the rest of the brawlers are banned out, but the RT, I really do like it. It's got the range, obviously, and once you get behind those walls, once you establish yourself aggressively, the amount of damage that can be...
Bia, Janete, RT, o RT passou a fome. O RT é muito bom, mano.
It's gonna be Gus coming in for Zest next, and
o Gus é bom também, o RT é bom, a Bia é bom, a Janete é boa.
But against a B, that can obviously be quite a difficult matchup.
Are they thinking Carl here maybe? Because that's often a big pairing that we see between Gus and Carl, but ultimately the protective pirouettes can often keep yourself alive regardless without the Gus's help. But Crow being banned I think is quite key here as well. It would have been a great thing to have, definitely, and Zest know that themselves, getting it out the way. But Otis would be a safe idea, I think, here as well. But it is going to be the bow, yeah. It does make sense. It's definitely within the kind of skill sets possessed, and no doubt about it, more than likely to be P.E.K.K.A on it. But, you know, that's the thing. B will be less effective now with the bow in play as well. With the Honey Molasses, you know, used primarily on defense, especially when you're against, you know, something of a squad that has no wall break. Now with the middle opened up, if obviously Zest can get into the position to be able to do so, it does make things a bit more interesting, and they may want to consider a wall break of their own, maybe even a Brock coming in for them next, but we shall see. They've been a bit more, you know, towards the Otis side of things. Bonnie, I like it actually. I mean, it's often used on a great deal in EMEA, for sure. Timing those jumps, though, is going to be key, and making sure that
o Gus não é braço subestimado, não. O Gus é picado, mano. O Gus é dos melhores brawl que tem pra jogar assim em time. Ele dá dano, ele ajuda, ele finaliza com acessório.
The last one not so much, but for the rest of it, it's been pretty solid, and they seem to be the game modes that go a little bit better for them. Zest, on the other hand, I like what they brought to the table, and as you said, I kind of did expect the Carl instead of the bow just that little bit more, but at the same time, bow's been working for them, so why not do it again?
Yeah, exactly that. The tap step from Firecrow. Already, Calber marked up by Motep. P.E.K.K.A just trying to earn it super quickly. He's got the gear rolling in as well for increased abilities to earn super, so let's see whether he's able to do so for a couple of these shots. Only surely 1 or 2 shots away now from getting it and going in on Doritos, forcing him away and into peril. The shots do land from P.E.K.K.A. Calber marked up again. P.E.K.K.A surviving on really nicely here. He knows that he's in a good spot. Just a couple shots more for super to get his mines down, and there they are. Will he go for? No, still left hand side first, playing it slow and steadily. I like that strategy actually from Zest. Don't get overconfidence too soon and just work your way up the map, get rid of the coverage, which is going to be a big attribute on the side of Super Renegados.
Essa skin do Gus é da hora, né? Só tem essa skin do Gus no jogo? Bonita? É, não é?
Over that left hand side there on the back wall by Cowbell as he walks over those mines yet again. Doritos going to be jumping in, and it might be a little bit of a waste there. I think he'll be back in respawning before if they can really make a move with this ball, as it is firmly back in their corner.
O Fari não joga troféu. O Fari só treina pra Mundial, mano. Mundial amistoso conta como vitória.
Doritos coming back into the mix now might change things, however. The pressure's still on. The Zest to keep the control. Mines going there, but it didn't really feel like that was necessary for me. He has got super. He's pretty much going to provide the same kind of idea, but nonetheless, Zest obviously are in a defensive position now with a big opening as well. Doritos pushing it forwards. Going to delay it a little bit there. Would like to have got the hit shot into Firecrow, but going for a jump over to the right. Not fan of that play. Not going to lie, Trav. That was an opportunity missed, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think he was just plainly avoiding that mine that was going to be popped on top of him there, but now an aggressive push from Zest. Maybe he should have just gone down, but he might be able to get the defense here. Doesn't, but it's all up to the Janet now. He's getting some good bombs dropped down onto them. Should be able to get P.E.K.K.A there, but actually doesn't get the shot off in time. Motep cleans him up, and complete flip of the script now as Zest are in control.
And as quickly as that, yeah, you just cannot turn your back on Zest with 10 seconds on the clock. Super handed over to Motep. He's already got his ready to go for a pass. The boxes go down for overtime here, but he might be into a bit of a perilous position here. Firecrow might need to take the reins here.
É só chutar.
One shot away now from Super,
é só chutar.
The pass will do it though. The left-hand side, there it is. And it is done. Zest moves on to match point. And a big opportunity missed there for Mitra for Super Renegados. I really felt like they should have done better in their position. They had a lot of control. They were really high up the map, forcing Zest back into the spawn.
Skin prata, skin de ouro, sai fora.
The stress of the situation. They managed to weed their way out of it, and you know, you don't get many opportunities against a team like Zest.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they just
Também tem a Power League. Mano, o Fari começou a jogar Power League agora. Ele não jogava Power League antes não, pô.
Taking those risks against a team like Zest, who are just the heavy favorites coming into a game like this, and Cowbear's going to be taken down pretty much instantly. The shield's going to be popped as well. This could be straight up walking here as well. Motep surely going to pop these legs down and get the damage done, but he's so close to falling himself, but might be able to survive this one a little bit longer. Legs should fall as they do with the Janet getting the shot through, but Zest, they're not backing off just yet.
Faz a leitura labial.
Pretty solid defense for the most part. Great shots there from Calber as well. Keeping Firecrow low and has the amplified shot. Great cookie popper there from Firecrow. Keeping him low. Honey Molasses coming in though. Shield perfectly placed onto himself just to ensure the survivability of the situation. Now potential pushback. Good shots from Motep. keeping people here low. Now, to get themselves into a much better spot. I wonder whether the Super Renegades can defend it continuously. So it was much earlier this time round as well, as we saw Zest struggle in the early stage of the game. A big wide open door.
Ooh.
What? Oh my word! I was going to say what was Super Renegades thinking, but what was Zest thinking with that miss? It was an open shot. And
Acabou,
they
mano.
managed to hit the
Aqui
side.
acabou.
Nonetheless, muito gets it in the end, but that shouldn't be missed.
Definitely not. I mean, at least he got the redemption and got the goal anyway, but now it looks like Renegados are looking for an answer back. He's pushed up quite aggressively, Doritos here, but they are going to have these respawns coming in. Ficro's back as well, and Motep getting some damage done onto him, but Pekka did bring down quite low on the right-hand side, and now they're just defending this one out. Doritos getting hit yet again by Ficro. And they just maybe don't want to make the same mistake as last time and stay too passive. They need to try and take this opportunity that they've got.
Foi gol, é só andar. Não?
Falls. So a great opportunity. You can't miss this opportunity realistically here. Super Renegades have got to be able to score this, and they should do now with Pekka coming in. Not going to do anything about it. That is finally one on the board, and right at the nick of time, 30 seconds on the clock.
ZKU acabou, hein?
Now it really is anyone's for the taking, but one
ZKU
goal
acabou, mano.
will secure themselves into the grand final.
And that's what they'll be looking for as well. Just need some supers to be able to get the work done in this overtime when it comes. Still 15 seconds left. Obviously, unbreakable walls will remain. So that might help out Motive if he wants to drop these legs and get some damage done. But that's way too aggressive from the Janet there. He gets punished for it as well just before overtime kicks in. Same with the B, but Doritos grabbing the ball and throw it in the corner. Right decision to make. Kind of deflate this push a little bit more, but still they're not stopping there. Super to the mid and super to the right. Zest put it away and going to the
GG. A
finals.
Zest ganhou, mano.
Great footwork towards the end. Got to be said. Every pass on point, and nothing Super Renegades could do about it whatsoever.
GG Zest, mano.
They are finding themselves yet again in the grand finals, and it was a better performance this month for Super Renegades. Just getting that one set on the board has shown improvement on some level for sure, and I think the drafts was where their strength really lied, but no real match necessarily at this present moment in time for Zest when it came to like, the skill and the decision making. The game sense for Zest at the moment seems very unmatched.
Yeah, you know, I will say, I feel sorry a little bit for Super Renegades. Obviously, you've got to be able to take down the best to win your region, but 3 months in a row facing Zest is not the easiest bracket to go through, but at the end of the day, they've made it to the semi-finals in this region 3 times now.
Nossa, errou o gol.
Massive thing as it is. They're going to be keeping their position in.
Agora que eu vi ele errando o gol, eu não tinha visto ele errando o gol não, mano. Eu tava olhando pra luta do Fire.
But again, like you said, you know, to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And I do feel like that is good practice. I mean, if you really want to, you know, enhance your progress and enhance your skills, then going up against the team in the semi-finals that have won every monthly final is actually doing them pretty much wonders, really, when it comes down to the fact that when they finally get a bracket which caters towards someone else, I think they stand a pretty decent chance. I mean, Halber there as well had a
Agora é o time do Peach contra o time do VTzinho, né? VTzinho contra Peach.
But yeah, Zest, despite that, really played the objective and got the job done at the end of the day.
I mean, Super Renegades, they looked very good in that Brawl Ball set as well. I think they probably should have won both of the games. They had the majority of the control. They looked solid, but they only put like 1 out of 5 opportunities away. The amount of control they had, they probably could have had like 6 goals in that set or something like that, but they just weren't able to put it to bed. They weren't able to get the goals in, and Zest, they did some good defenses, but I still think Renegados should have put a lot of those goals in the net.
Yeah, I do agree. I think there could have been a moment there which they were able to turn it around, maybe even take it to a 5th and final set, but sadly for them, it was not to be.
Kelesh vai passar o trator.
Versus Clash, that grudge match that we all know
Kelesh
about,
do VTzinho.
in just a minute. Gonna take a
É
short
VTzinho,
break. No swap around here.
Tufa e...
After this.
E caiu o Dog? Caiu o Dog, né? O Peach é ruim, só tá um time bom. Sei não, hein, Arthur? Sei não, mano. O time do Peach, tirando o Peach, não é tão bom assim não, velho. O time do Peach é Edinho, Peach e Wesley, não é? Não sei se o Wesley e Edinho são bons não, mano. Quer ver, ó, o time do Peach, mano? O time do Peach tá aqui, ó. time do Pitch. Edinho, Wesley, Brabão. Brabão é técnico, né? Ah, o Brabão não joga, mano. É o Wesley e Edinho. É o Wesley e Edinho. É Wesley humilde demais, só falta ser humilde, né, mano? Só falta ser humilde.
Yeah, Zest really are looking just as they have it every month to be the Titans of the region, but
live amanhã às 6, live amanhã às 6, eu vou morrer. Acordar às 6 da manhã amanhã pra jogar liga, velho.
We saw this last month, Teddy. Lucas caused a huge upset. They got a 3-1 versus Clash. How do you feel like this is going to go again? Because we go back to the very beginning in February, that was not the case. Clash got the win in convincing fashion. It's been a back and forth affair, massively so. Let's start first and foremost though with Lucas and check out their roster here. Coutinho, Edinho and Wesley, they are looking so good at the moment, Teddy. The question is, have they managed to retain it since last month?
Yeah, I think this is their chance to really prove themselves, you know? Beating the favorites once is fantastic, but if they do it again, then suddenly we
Ele tem os quadros do Paullopx, mano, do lado. Eu nem sabia disso.
And Bandit Lucas, those sort of questions, they're here to answer them today.
Perfectly put. Absolutely so, because Clash have got a great deal of support. Let's be honest. Tufa, Kydog, and VT Zim there really are a team that you've got to fear regardless. And maybe last month they just dropped the ball just a little bit too much and got a bit overconfident. But confidence is something which they definitely do not lack, isn't it? Looking very confident here today. Big smiles from them. And as we were talking pre-show, Teddy, as well, I do feel like Clash are that team that when they maybe kind of get themselves a bit too ahead of themselves, they do tend to come back stronger. They tend to work on a lot of their weaknesses and review everything.
É, mano, eu acho que o Wesley que eu bani do canal não é o Wesley, hein, mano. Será que o Wesley é o Wesley? Eu acho que não, mano. Eu acho que não, cara. É outro Wesley, mano.
Month of the monthly finals is really a good moment to do so, you know, to really refocus and think, okay, the region is maybe a little bit more competitive than we thought. And let's grind again. Let's make sure that we are on top of our form. And right now, I mean, they look confident, and I want to see what they have to show to us here.
Yeah, absolutely so. I think perfectly put it there for me. You know, just being able to have a little bit of a time to now consider what's going to happen for the rest of the year and being put in your place. It's never a bad thing. It allows you to come back stronger ultimately, and hopefully for Clash as well today, they've got some good tricks up their sleeves when it comes to their drafts and so forth. Again, we've had so many changes now in Brawl Stars to consider when it comes to every single update that we have. So going into Layer Cake for Bounty up first. And again, that early start is something that both teams here will highly value and highly crave here. Let's see what both sides are thinking as we get into our draft very shortly.
Yeah, despite the changes to Bounty, you know, the max to 20 stars now, as you said, the blue star is just as important as it ever was.
Acho que é outro, mano.
Really got to make sure that, you know, you lock in a good early game, because if you can play more defensive while your opponents are going to be running into your range and you really are the one dealing the cards. But looking at the draft here, our bans are already lined up. A Penny first pick here from Clash. Not a big surprise. Penny's been in a pretty decent place for a while now, and obviously the new gear helps out a bit as well, but not necessarily my go-to when it comes to this map. I mean, I think it's alright. I just feel like it's a bit lackluster of a pick in my opinion. Just not really the most colorful early pick, but that's kind of what you want as well, to just not get heavy counter too much with your early picks.
Is it just me, or is that head on the desk looking a little bit creepy, Teddy? Max coming in for Bandit de Lucas. And it was an 18% predictions in favor of Bandit de Lucas taking the victory. So definitely a higher percentage favoring Clash here, as they do have quite a considerable fan base. Max in Layer Cake definitely screams to me a very aggressive idea. Interesting to see as well the Grey being banned on both sides, as the Grey was really the thorn in the sides of Clash last month. And Bandit de Lucas played it really well.
Com a careca do Sasuke.
And this is what I'm saying about Meg. She's pretty much viable everywhere now.
Não é o Sasuke, não é o Itachi, não. Esse é o Itachi, pô, não é o Tomalu.
But play-wise, I don't see a problem with it. It's very suppressive, and I think in that respect, Clash have got to be a little bit
Esse é o Sasuke não, mano.
too frequently within their back spawn area without a plan.
É o Sasuke isso aí? Não é não, é? É não.
Solid shout. There's
É não,
later
pô.
drafts, but not really in the position to pick it. It will be counted surely by Bandaloo.
Eugênio.
Gene coming in to try to get that magic hand working within the mid, and also apply a great deal more pressessure when forcing their opposition back.
A faixa de idade dos jogadores do Brasil é bem mais baixa, não, né não? Se pá é mais alta, mano. Eu acho que a faixa de idade do Brasil é jogador mais velho. Tem muito país ali que tem jogador de 18, 16, não? 16 pode? Pode não, né? 18, né? Não sei se o Brasil é tão velho assim não, mano. Não sei muito sobre Naruto.
At least for the moment. We'll see the Leon as the last pick. A brawler that has been creeping back up the meta, but really slowly. I've yet to be overly convinced by it myself, but it's definitely not a bad pick either. So
o time do VT mora junto, eu não sabia não.
From Clash and perhaps maybe even go for an assassination.
Eu não sabia que o time do VT morava junto, não. Janetão.
Not necessarily the most common last pick, to be honest. It's
Meg,
a brawl that
Janet,
you will bring
Max.
in really early into your draft because it doesn't really get countered too much, but it also doesn't really counter other brawlers as much as you would really like for a last pick. So an interesting approach here from BDL. Maybe they just didn't really see a big weakness to Clash's comp and decided that, you know, Janet is good enough. At least it's not going to be weakening up their comp, and it's a brawler that is incredibly versatile and can still get a lot of work done.
Esses moleque aí do lado do VT é irmão dele? Não, são os jogadores. É o Tufa e o Kaidog.
Win condition for the tie breaker, but definitely a consideration to be had as if one of these two teams really do start to get a bit of a snowball effect, then they could effectively end the game earlier than the normal playtime. It's just the blue star for now in the hands of Adino as Clash start to move forwards a little bit. Kaidog trying to connect a few shots, but not really able to do so. Wesley on the right hand side though will feed in a little bit. Look at that positioning there from Dino. Goes in so completely out of position and survives with a little helping hand from Wesley in the body blocks department. But at the moment, it is still just that blue star. No team member gone down for either side. Magic
Mano, o Eugênio quase se matou.
He can get away, makes a lot of sense. Kaidog, we gotta heal up now.
Yeah, Kaidog was one tick away from going down to the drop to base there.
O Eugênio tem que puxar alguém, mano. A Penny morreu. Não, morreu não.
Good target for it, considering she has her super, and a swipe to the face would be quite deadly.
Não pode puxar a Meg. Tem que puxar o Amax ou a Janete.
Nice kill from Petinho on the left-hand side. It's gonna be the first kill of this game, giving 2 extra stars to Bandit Lucas.
O Peach matou o Tufa. O Eugênio errou a ult. Quem ganha VT o Peach depende da comp, mano. Depende da comp. 7-4. 7-7. Viraram ainda, mano.
I mean, the win condition here was taking Meg out of her mech, right? She was inside of it for the entirety of the game, but at some point she didn't get out, and they were able to push up because it's quite underwhelming in that position, and that was really well timed.
Os caras tudo usa cabo, mano, de internet. Eles não usam Wi-Fi. Todo mundo tá usando cabo.
Very, very aggressive in the mid there from two from Kaidog. Dino was very lucky to survive it, let's be honest. But now, going back into the spawn side just to heal up, and has allowed then Bandit Lucas to get themselves a bit more firmly put in the mid. Sim with some nice shots on the right-hand side as well. Just connecting to Wesley. Would like to have that turret on defense.
Morreu?
No doubt
Não
about
morreu.
it. Drop the base on the left. Tufa is going to be in a bad spot. He's got
Agora
to
morreu.
right. He's going to pop the invis heal. But
Não
he has
morreu,
been
não.
found. He's healing up.
Agora morreu.
But not much he can really do. But the pull there from Kyle is great. But Tufa's still in trouble. He's got to get out of that corner. And finally, the drop the gate base goes down. But look at Wesley's position. Just going to town on this spawn.
Mano, a Meg não conseguiu matar ninguém, velho. Ninguém. Agora matou.
Keeping Tufa alive, but at last someone falls. It's going to be Kaio Dog himself as Pizzinho pushes up and takes him down. Has
3 a 3.
Strikes again. VTZim
Puxou.
goes down and 3 stars now favoring Bandit the Locos.
What a great start for them, but we saw that last time, didn't we? And look how that went. And Clash are repositioning themselves. Salty barrel there for VTZim. Meanwhile, Kyle Dog can't really pull just yet. It's got to heal up a bit more.
3 a
Down
3.
as well, and that will force the hand. No pun intended, as Kyle Dog's thinking it, flashing it, showing it. Will he go for it? That's the question. Gets Pizzino, wants the stars, wants the bounty, and gets it. Body blocking
7 a
from
6.
Tufa. Bang on point.
Olha a virada de novo, mano.
And they can afford to do so. They've got the lead and the blue star now.
É só virada.
And Wesley is still in the mech this time around, so that's going to help for this final push. 1 star means that 1 kill is more than enough. They're pushing up, no more drop to base.
Não,
So
não
forcing
morreu.
this fight to kill already, make it a double for Clash. And Wesley left on his own
Já acabou.
outside of his mech. Not a chance here. Clash will take the first set, but
1 a 0.
honestly,
Dois jogos
really
quase
turning away.
empatado, mano. Foi quase um empate isso aí.
But it does speak volumes to me in the way that Clash, this time around today so far, have shown some perseverance.
Você viu o café esqueceu o Peach não, o VT esqueceu o café no fogão, saiu correndo pra apagar o fogo. VT saiu correndo pra apagar o fogão, mano. Capa.
But Clash seem to have learned from last month, seemingly from that first set. It's still very early days, no doubt about it. But they did seem to make the decisions, more in keeping with what we'd like to see from Clash. That prioritization, for example, there, perfectly done to ensure the higher bounty kills, so then they'd be able to come back at just the right time with the blue star, knowing that they had the advantage going back as well. And then later as well, regaining that control. Kaya Dog there being very selective again. The Pizzino managed to get it. I mean, that's a great pull there, wasn't it, really? Body blocking from Tufa. Some really, really
dar uma
solid stuff
cagada.
all round, let's be honest.
Será, mano? Não dá tempo não, velho. Não dá tempo, mano.
Bandit Lucas, they definitely did not look bad, but this is what scares me in those sort of situations. Yes, we definitely got signs of life, and they're playing for it today, right? They know they can win against Clash. They did so last month, but they need every opportunity that they can get, and this, to me, felt like it was an opportunity. Both games they could really have won. Sadly for them, it's going to be Clash to pick them up, and kills-wise, it's very, very close.
Mano, o personagem do VT não parece o VT, mano. O Peach não parece o Peach, o VT não parece o VT, o Tufa parece o Tufa.
Require kills, and that was something that Wesley failed to do. But again, I believe he was on the Meg, and maybe that is not a place for Meg. It's still early days. The teams are experimenting with it and trying it pretty much everywhere. Let's be honest, they were in APAC for sure. But Knockout was a map and mode that we didn't see any of Meg, actually. It was primarily not banned and not picked. So I'm not expecting it. I'm not ruling it out, however, with this region, because they do tend to surprise when it comes to their drafts. And there you go. As I'm saying it, not banned, picked first. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily mind it. It could have a great deal of range in the mid. You can run the vision gear alongside it as well.
RT tá banido.
But maybe that's why they've gone for the Gene ban as well, because that would be a great thing to have for that mid on the side of Clash. But Janet is still available. That's going to be a very high pick to have here. Maybe even be those long-ranged, high-impact shots as well. Not really convinced on the Mandy ban, but this is the region that do tend to play Mandy more than any other. So I can
Peach parece que tá careca.
Max is going to come in for Clash.
Max.
Like that aggression. But it does require something else alongside it.
Eu acho que a BDL ganha esse aqui, mano.
Essentially for those long-ranged affairs.
A BDL vai ganhar.
What will they pair with it? That is the question. Don't mind a bell here myself. Brock, yeah, coming in for Clash. Love that.
Brocão.
Yeah, I mean, Brock is solid. It's a staple of any sort of long-range map, and there are a lot of bushes, but the flames that stick to the ground will also help scouting just a little bit more. I have a question for you, Ark. I don't know if you would be able to answer. I know that now the shield gear does work on the mech. Do you think the speed gear does too? Because it didn't used to. But I'm starting to believe it might, and that could be something quite interesting on a map with tons of bushes like this.
That's a really valid question. Yeah, I haven't tested that myself. I wouldn't be surprised though either, because obviously the rework has changed quite a great deal. I've been testing some of the other gears as well though recently, and one thing I noticed today was the fact that with the pet damage, or it's now called pet power as a gear, there's definitely some healing qualities and damage qualities that kind of provide some and not others. So Tara's pets are affected, and you get more damage out of them, and you also get the damage increase, or rather the healing increase of 20% at the same time. Needs is unaffected by that. Bear with me, Star Power does not provide 20% more healing, but it seems to be primarily based on Bruce. So there's a bit of an inconsistency there for me in terms of gears and some ideas that aren't quite matching. I'd be very curious to see though if that speed gear is in play, and whether that might be also contributing to why Meg is actually so strong at the moment.
Grey Meg Gus.
It's a bit of an issue actually, because Clash will remember.
Mano, eu acho que a BDL ganha. A BDL vai ganhar.
Mode,
Confia.
I think it was Bell's
A BDL ganha agora.
which has now left the map pool as Rups comes in for Clash. This was a great pick.
O Rufus cautera o Grey, cautera o Gus também.
They struggle to deal with it. Those dimensional doors,
O Tufa parece ser pai do Kai e do VT.
TP really around your map, but
É por causa do
it's
bigode,
definitely on their
mano.
minds now, and I'm not necessarily sure whether the Ruffs is the best answer for it. It will definitely provide some supply drops along the way for damage purposes, and that over time will be an advantage. But I don't know, Teddy, how do you feel about it?
I don't mind it. I mean, I'm kind of curious about what the plan is here with the end game for Bandit Lucas.
Mano, o Rufus é muito bom ali. Mas eu acho que mesmo assim o time da BDL ganha.
And it is just a general problem
A BDL vai ganhar, confia.
But I don't know how strong it's going to be here, and I think the speed gear does work, but I'm not entirely sure. I think so, right?
I think it's vision. I think with speaker you see those little tiny red arrows pointing upwards, and I think actually there is something. I think it's on the pit scene there.
Acessório.
So I don't think it's being ran.
I think they were
at
just
the
on top
moment
of each other.
But nonetheless, you're completely right in what you're saying. I mean, Meg is so suppressive here. And ultimately with the coverage as well, you can wait the clock out as long as you're not feeding into the shots. And
Não matou.
Dino seems to be doing a good job of that. Nice cookie popper there from Wesley, and that will keep that kind
Matou.
of just a bit
Que?
longer.
Mano, o acessório salvou o cara.
Winning in terms of positioning power over the Meg. And obviously, of course, if they can get the Meg
Matou.
out of the Meg,
O F.
then that will make Dino much more susceptible to being shot.
Mano, esse acessório do
Go
Rufus
down
cautera
as the
bonito
gas
o
closes in,
Gus,
and there's been
mano.
a few changes now to the gas as well here in Knockout.
Yeah, it's gonna deal damage based on percentage of
Morreu.
total HP. A nice kill though from Tufa, locked in onto pit scene. It's close.
Nem fudendo, nem fudendo. Nem fudendo, mano. E a live do Rebola, vejo nada. O gráfico de lá é pior, mano. A qualidade de imagem deles é ruim, mano.
Feel the steel got a pretty big nerve, and if Dino was able to survive just a little bit longer to really get that off, you have to earn it now. Previously, you would get it over time as well, a Meg, but now it's something that you do have to land your shots to get back, and it is the biggest weakness for having Meg in Knockout, and it's probably one of the many reasons why we haven't seen it ran in other regions, because it's nothing worse than being out of your mecha in those final moments.
Mano, eu jurava que a BDL ia ganhar isso aqui. Era pra ter ganho, né? Era pra ter ganho.
As everyone healing up in a good spot, they'd like to be able to juke around this Meg and really get a bit more up close and personal, especially as Adina is low, but now healing up, that is a cause of concern. They've got time on their side ultimately, and there's very little utility available on the other side of things for Bandit de Lucas. Wesley's got the shield, but not much more than that. The heal's coming for Dino, trying to reposition themselves into a more
Zicou nada, pô. Confia, vai ganhar. O Grey não pegou ult até agora, né? Eu não vi uma ult do Grey, mano, até agora. Agora eu vi. Só não usou. Só não usou, mano. Morreu. Ganhou. Tá, lê aí, ó. A qualidade você muda no site, não muda, mano. Não muda, a qualidade de imagem deles é horrorosa, velho.
But obviously he had to earn those shots to have the super ready to hand to be able to win the 1v1 anyway, so nothing but skill to be seen there. Because now we reset. Whoever takes this next round will claim the first game here. definitely means more for Clash to be able to do so, considering that they've already got one set in the pocket.
Do mês passado era horrorosa, né? Desse mês eu não sei.
Start to iron out some of these issues, as the momentum is looking pretty decent so far with that round win. 2 on the left-hand side, low, but Wesley lower. Rocket Rain coming in, but not going to connect, and Wesley will heal up and be unaffected by any of the damage that did come down.
O Grey tem ult.
And now Clash.
Se ele ultar no Brock, ele mata o Brock. Ele só tem que ultar no Brock.
Ultimately, the proximity with the roughs will provide more HP over time. Not a huge amount, but enough to make a bit of a difference in the late
O VTzinho queria dar o power pro Brock e a Max foi lá e pegou, mano. Aqui acabou. O Grey, mano, barra ban Grey aí, na moral, velho. O Grey pega ult e não gasta ult, mano. Barra ban Grey, mano, na moral, velho. Vou lá pegar... Não, vai ter mais um jogo. Eu ia pegar café, mano. Barra ban Grey, na moral, mano. Na moral mesmo. Parece o Rafa jogando de Grey, velho. Na moral, mano.
And he completely whiffed it. Needs to be very careful about how he plays it out in this one. Is it did really feel like that was their win condition. Getting that super out is just so much damage. That's how they get a kill, because I mean Max
vai jogar no lugar dele? Impossível. Os caras não vai me contratar não, velho. Eu sou sincero.
Pumping his gadget. So they need to be careful. Maybe a bit more careful with the trigger on the side of Clash. However, Lucas, they will welcome that mistake with open arms, because now they are really contesting this second set and have a chance at evening things out.
Morreu. Nossa, agora foi de F. Agora o VT foi de F, mano.
Now though, 3 versus 2 as Clash showing a few more cracks than I'm sure many watching at home would like to see.
Perdeu a ult.
So aggressive on Adino, and he will go down, punished for it. 2v1 now for Tufa. Not for many places that he can really hide here or move around, but he's doing his best. Big shots in, Wesley will seal it. And that is looking very, very good. This was a
Great
that Clash struggled with last month against Band Lucas, and does feel like the same thing is happening again.
2 supers now for Clash. Just gonna use them well this time around. And they do have a lot of space. BDL know that those supers are a problem. It's gonna be used very early on.
O Grey não pode ultar. Se ele ultar, ele morre. O Rufus tem acessório.
I don't know if that's gonna cut it. Because up close, BDL, if you don't look at supers, they definitely have.
O Grey não pode ultar.
Edinho.
A Meg tá apanhando.
He's gonna get shielded up by Wesley. That enables him to still keep pushing a bit, but at the end of the day, not really able to create that much space either. So now he's up close, has the swipe in hand as well.
O Grey tem que ultar no Brock, mas o Brock sabe disso.
For a bit later.
Matou, aí ó. Jogou certinho agora o Grey. Aí agora o cara aprendeu a jogar de Grey. Aprenderam a jogar de Grey e olha no que deu, mano. Vou lá pegar café.
And that is going to be very, very solid stuff. Band Lucas did not look phased at all by Clash, did they, in knockout? Very comfortable, much better than that first set. It is a map and mode which they just seem to get on so well with.
Super well done. Honestly, just very good stuff here from BDL, especially after losing that first set in a bit of a heartbreaking way for them, because they were leading for the most part of it. They're able to nicely turn around that momentum and use it in their favor. I think looking at the draft, Brock was probably the brawler who was struggling the most. I mean, I feel like if supers were used a little bit differently, it could have been a different story. But at the end of the day, in the late game,
porque a BDL não tem pin no jogo, porque ela não foi pro Mundial. Os que tem pin no jogo é quem foi pro Mundial do ano passado, não? Não sei se foi Mundial, mano. Do ano passado, do ano retrasado.
In game number 2, just getting some great kills after those TPs, and BDL just looking better here in knockout.
think you hit the nail on the head there for me, honestly. I think Tufa had a really rough match, and you can see in the replay as well, a lot of the times when those shots were missed, it would have made a difference to the outcome.
Falei, pô, que a BDL ia ganhar, confia na Cal, velho. A comp dos caras tava melhor.
Definitely a couple of whiff shots there for sure, which did make the impact, and you can see it reflects as well in the stats as well, just the one takedown. 3 for VT Sim, 2 for Kayadog, but Wesley with big bats, 7 on the left-hand side, really did bring home a lot of goods there for Band Lucas, and good stuff from them. I mean, looking back at last month's scoreline between these very two teams, Band Lucas did finish on a 3-1 scoreline here to make their way into the grand finals. The way they're playing, as you rightly mentioned, Teddy and Bounty, they had
o Pitch tá nervosão, mano.
Up until those final moments, and just let their guard down a little bit too long. Well, the way they played Knockout was very, very different, and Clash looked very flustered, missing a lot of shots, not really landing the mark, and that's what they kind of unraveled last time round as well. So I do hesitate to wonder whether is it history repeating already.
O que aconteceu com a NTZ Brasil? Mano, a organização parou de investir no BRAWL e foi para outros jogos, né? Só saiu do BRAWL. A NTZ como organização não tá no BRAWL. Mas os jogadores da NTZ ainda jogam BRAWL. A NTZ tá no CSGO. Não, no CSGO acho que tá também não. Tá no LoL. Tá no LoL e no Valorant? Ou só no LoL, mano? Eu não sei, velho. Acho que só tá no LoL.
I wonder whether Mr. P might come back in. We haven't seen it in so long in South America, but it was always such a favorite for them in terms of their picks.
Como eles têm a visão inteira do mapa, essa foto aqui do meio, essa foto aqui, tá no site, pô. Tá no site, mano.
I think Bo Rush kind of worked pretty decently well here as well. Tara can have their moments as well.
Passou Meg.
Ruffs though coming in for Clash. I don't mind it. I much prefer Rico.
Não, Meg tá banido, mano. Meg e Max tá banido. Meg e Max banido e Stu também. 3D? Mano, 3D é quem faz é os ADM do BRAWL. Eles pegam com os caras do BRAWL, mano.
That center area is not just a fort for yourselves to be able to defend, but can also be a very tough thing to break into. And that could be an idea as well with the Ruffs. You're able to break open those left or right-hand side pockets. Bo kind of coming as well. I did wonder. I did think maybe they'd bring in Bo here. And I think that works pretty well. I think Clash have got a very good comp. Amber's still available though. And that is really where I feel Band Lucas should be thinking now. Because if they get the Amber, you can just shut down the middle lane. You can shut down the spawn. You can shut down anything you want as a result of that new mythic gear, the sticky oil.
Amber is broken, especially on a map like this where the lanes are like very much clear, if that makes any sense. Like, it's very obvious how the lanes are.
Otis é pouco bom também. Byron, mano. Cadê o Biel? Cadê o Biel? Nossa, Byron, mano.
For a second, because I'm very surprised by this pick. I mean, he did get buffed back to his original state, which, to be fair, it's a bit of a wonder why we haven't been seeing him more, but it's probably just because the draft format hasn't been as pleasant of an experience.
Essa que a BDL perde. A BDL vai perder agora, confia. O Byron deve estar no meta por causa da Meg, mas os caras nem tem Meg, a Meg tá banida, mano. Pra que pegar Byron com a Meg banida?
I don't like it.
F. O cara ri, a live cai. O cara ri, a live cai.
I mean, if it was any other team that hadn't already been from Clash last month, then I'd be much more concerned. Sprout gonna come in.
O Tufa vai de Sprout.
I don't think these are the best ideas to be showing, but I mean, there's a reason why I'm the caster and they're the pros, right? I mean,
o Byron é considerado o pior do jogo atualmente, não. O pior do jogo atualmente era a Shelly, eu acho. E a Shelly foi bufada. O pior do jogo, na minha visão, mano, Ou é o Chester, acho que é o Chester ou o Frank. Ou é o Chester ou é o Frank, mano.
And those kinds of ideas can do actually more or less the same, but actually better. So,
é Chester ou Frank?
For me, regardless, they are the picks. Let's see how the pros want to demonstrate and display them.
O Edgar também. O Edgar nunca é usado em campeonato, mano. Se pá, o Edgar é o pior brawl do jogo. O Edgar só é bom no combate.
You already have a gem carrier, which is Bo, and he doesn't do nearly as well on lane, so I don't know. It's a very interesting draft for sure on both sides, but personally I end up liking the ideas from BDL just a little bit more.
Tá vendo que o Byron só cura o RT? A função do Byron é curar o RT, mano.
But you are still shooting into the dark. There's not really much for Clash except for the roughs, and eventually when the walls do break for the Sprout to be able to show up the crossover.
Tá vendo? A função do Byron é curar o RT, velho.
Gems drop for Clash, and they pick them up. Pizzino coming back in now. I think they could have probably picked up more than they did. Not quite sure why, but now BCZim goes down. It's all over the place, Teddy. Everyone is dropping gems left, right, and center, making questionable choices as well as drops. I already know what's happening.
It's a chaotic game. That's what's happening. But it seems like in Chaos, it is Banner the Lucos. They are going to be thriving as in this match. They now have.
Função do Byron é curar o RT, mano.
But it's still an advantage that can be quite considerable, especially if they can double down. It would get them a set closer to the grand finals. And honestly, I mean, well drafts on both sides, but I feel like
ano passado a Kelesh era o melhor time do mundo, hein? Mundo não, o melhor time do Brasil. E você disse que ia ganhar? Eu falei a Kelesh. O Peach sabe jogar de RT, né? O Peach é bom de RT, ziquei o Peach, tá vendo? É só começar a falar, pô. Se eu falar, os caras morrem.
Strategy that I'm sure Clash were trying to achieve from the very beginning, but they didn't get that sense of control. Big supply drop coming down, knockback. We'll see that the kill actually.
É só falar, pô, é só falar, velho. Se eu falar, os caras morrem.
The question is, will Banda Lucas be able to adapt around this as they have shown in the past? Wesley could have actually broken maybe the entire wall if he just kept walking forwards there as well.
Aí, ó, vai, fala dele. Eu falei que eles iam ganhar, pô. Falei que a Kelesh é melhor aqui, pô. A composição dos caras tá melhor, mano. Eles perderam por incapacidade de saber jogar. A comp deles tá melhor, velho.
And sometimes Brawl Stories is simple as that, especially considering how snowball the game can be, where you're winning a lane, so you can go help out your teammate on another lane, and suddenly you're winning every lane.
Tá vendo? O jogo deles começa antes da... Aqui, ó, já tá tendo jogo ali, tá vendo? O jogo deles começa antes da transmissão. E aí, VGT, como é que você tá, mano? O engraçado é que o Tufa não tá de Sprout, né? Faz melhor então, mas eu não tenho time, mano. Se eu tivesse time, eu faria, velho. O Sprout morreu? Não, não morreu.
Almost goes down to it. Survives just about enough, but Kaya Doglow on the left, and now Dino and Wesley forcing themselves through. Clash got to get this back under control, and Tufa goes down. That's not helping.
That's a big kill from Pizzino. That's 2 gems as well that were picked up in a hurry by Tufa. The gap is still quite large though, and the bow mines are a disaster. Kyodon finds Wesley, BTZim.
8-2.
He's gonna be getting to 8 gems now, 2 away from securing a
comeback
for his team, and I mean, he's playing it so much better than he was earlier. Just creating so
9
much
a
space
2.
with those walls and really funneling Bando de Lucas into the angles he wants to be playing. Countdown got gem number 10, so it's not the strongest of countdowns, but if there's no one to interrupt
Acabou, eu falei. A comp dele está melhor, mano.
Clash, reverse sweep this set to take over the lead once again.
O sorteio do Instagram vai ser quantas horas? Depois do campeonato do combate, mano.
And honestly, for the first game, I didn't think that Clash were going to be able to turn it around. It looked just very much scrappy. Didn't seem like they would have much control over things. They seem to be very much in good spirits despite all those things.
Vai com o Rafa e o Biel, eles não podem. Eles não podem, mano. E se eu for com eles, eu não vou ganhar. Eu fazer um time com Rafa e Biel, eles não podem jogar. E além de não poder jogar, a gente vai perder na primeira fase. Quem ganhar o combate vai receber na conta, vai receber na conta não. Eu vou mandar o link, só que eu não tenho o link ainda. É só dia 4 que eles vão liberar a skin, mano. O ganhador vai ganhar hoje, só que vai ganhar a skin só dia 4. Dia 4 é que dia, mano? Dia 4 é quarta-feira. Ele só vai liberar a skin quarta-feira.
Did carry the team for the most part. Obviously, a lot of support there, no doubt about it. But you know, the strategy is what prevailed, and Bando de Lucas found themselves in that back spawn more often than not. BT's in 8 kills. Really great stuff from him. 240 DPS as well. A great amount for him, and really led the way there for Clash.
Dia 4 é quinta.
Going into this next set, you know, you'd think that the momentum was with Clash, and they're going to be able to just continue
Dia 4 é
forwards
quinta,
in what is a
mano.
new map to the map pool, parallel plays for Hot Zone.
A partir de quantos anos? Eu acho que é 18, mano. Se não for 18, é 17 ou 16. Eu acho que é 18. Eu acho que é 18. 16? O Rafa tem 9, né? O Biel tem 5. O Biel daqui a 11 anos ele participa do campeonato. O Rafa tem 11?
Você é Byron Pan now from BDL. They must really rate him highly, and I'm wondering.
Tem que ler o manual, mano. Eu não tô lendo o manual. O desafio do combate é pra geral? É pra geral, mano.
I mean, it used to be played here once in a while, in all fairness, but that was way back when Byron was meta. So, I don't know. I really don't know what to think, because what I was kind of thinking in the previous set is maybe Clash were cut off.
Meg na zona.
So that's why they struggled a bit in game 1, and then
aqui acabou, 3 a 1, mano.
And they won the next 2.
Aqui acabou, certeza, aqui acabou, mano. Meg, acabou, pô. Os caras deixou a Meg passar, velho, e pegou o Max de primeiro pique. Os caras esqueceu de banir a Meg e esqueceu de pegar a Meg. Como que os caras esquecem da Meg, velho? Não é possível, mano.
I do like it for sure. I already feel like the pet power gear will come into play for Penny. Meg, we saw yesterday having a lot of success in the EMEA as well. But that is not the play. That is not the play.
Willow.
Well, I can understand in Brawl Ball. I saw SK Gaming lose with it on Hot Potato earlier in the week, and I did wonder why they chose it.
No sorteio da skin vai ter umas 1k de pessoa na live, confia. Confia que vai ter. Aqui acabou, mano. Aqui acabou, confia que acabou. 3 a 1, mano. 3 a 1 pela comp. Pega um Barley. Pega Barley pra cauterar o Willow, acabou. Pega Barley, pô, acabou. Zica não, é 3 a 1, pô, 3 a 1, confia. Colete. Mano, era Barley, não, mas a Max cautera Barley. Mas o Barley é bom contra o Willow.
But I just can't see a scenario
Colette, eu não
without a
concordo
better
com Colette
alternative
aqui
than
não,
just doing it
mano.
yourself with a different brawler.
Eu não acho que
I don't
Colette é
know,
uma boa
maybe you're
opção
saying
aqui,
something
velho.
that I'm not.
I'm
Talvez uma
seeing the same
Bibi
thing,
seria
I'm saying
bom.
Willow. And
É o primo?
so far, I mean,
É o
it's
primo Bibi?
shown some promise in Brawl Ball, but that's really been it for me. I feel like even on this map, Barley does everything
Mano, Colette eu não
better, you know,
concordo,
it's more
não.
consistent on the damage, it's easier to
Uma
land
Pan?
your shots, and you have more
Amber's available!
control. Yeah, exactly.
Amber, Teddy, it's available!
No, I mean, I'm fully aware. I just mean if you want to go Trevor, you know? If you want to go Trevor, I feel like this was the worst one of them. Dynamite included.
Fala da Colette lá, fala da
Hey,
Colette.
Dynamite's in a good spot. Don't be slandering.
Fala da
Dynamite
Colette,
here,
mano.
Teddy. Well, 2 and 4 seems well to the zone. Now out of Mecha 4.
Fala da Colette,
Wait,
fala da
how's
Colette.
he- I mean,
Oh, it's a new gadget.
NA acessório e esse acessório aí, mano, você viu?
He just walked over, wasn't he, really?
Yeah.
Fala da Colette, mano.
I mean, I can see some of the appeal, right? You have unbreakable walls in the zone, so you can
O
defend
Pete
from
tem todas
there.
as skins do jogo, o VT também, mano.
Invincible for
Não,
5
acho que o Pete
seconds,
não tem, mano.
which
Ele fez um
also kinda
vídeo mostrando as
cool when
skins
you,
dele.
you know, need to lock down an
Quem tem
area.
todas as skins mesmo é o VT, pô. E o
I mean, it's
Motep eu acho que
definitely
tem também.
an interesting approach, that's for sure.
Acho que é o
And
VT e o Motep que tem todas as skins do
don't get-
jogo.
don't do a mistake here by thinking that BDL are in the lead. I mean, they are percentage-wise,
O
but
VT tem
Clash
e
haven't
talvez o
finished capturing
Motep
their
também
own zone,
tem.
which is so much easier than capture the zone on enemy territory. Kyodog is going to get a great kill, maybe even a follow-up, but Etinio will survive with 22 HP, and now suddenly that lead might be quite important.
Morreu.
Because they might not need to defend if they're able to stay into that zone, and so far it's kind of the approach they're going for.
60 a 50.
So I really want to give more grief
Uru.
to the Willow right now, but I can't because Bad and Lucas are winning, and I don't want to have to backtrack, but I'm going to stand my ground here. At the beginning, Wesley had to be escorted the whole time with someone by his hand, you know?
Zicou demais, nada, pô, tá empatado lá, ó. Tá 70 a 70.
Not the other way around, and, you know, 2v1 at defense. Nonetheless, Clash start to regain some control now. They've got a lot of good capture points in that zone, so they can just tiptoe their way in and then
Tá
leave
70 a
themselves to have
70,
to
mano.
be able to focus on the one that's primarily within their spawn, and the turret now raining down. But they are in a dangerous position here. They can't get too overconfident. They've got to be able to finish off the other zone, keep Band Lucas under control, which they are
Nem
doing
ferrando
now.
que esse mapa vai pra
They're very
liga.
clustered. Look at this. How suppressive
Esse mapa
it is
aqui eu não
for
gosto dele
Stomp
também,
now
não.
to push them back the way they have.
Esse mapa aqui
Clash
depende do
really are
time.
firmly in the driving seat.
Yeah.
Se você ganha esse mapa e seu time perde, você perde. Não adianta muito você ganhar o seu lado e seu time perder. 80 a 80, tá empatado, tá empatado. Aqui perdeu. O BDL perdeu aqui. Perdeu 100%. Perdeu 100%, mano.
1v3 trying to defend, and he's doing wonderfully well, but the damage is done, percentages are captured, and Clash
3 a 1, pô, confia.
I think what you just said there, Teddy, I could bring back around full circle to really emphasize my feelings on the situation when it came to that draft. The damage is done.
Confia no 3 a 1.
There's no turning back now. They have to live by the sword, die by the sword, and
Kelesh tá melhor. Tá de mag, mano. Tá de mag e já tá melhor. Tem Penny ainda, Penny tá no meta. Os caras pegou o Willow. Willow é bom, mais ou menos. Morreu. Olha o Edinho rodando. Eu fazia isso de mortes antigamente. Eu ficava rodando aí de mortes, mano. Tem como ganhar só rodando. Você não precisa atacar os caras, é só rodar nesse negocinho aí, ó. E de mortes é de boa rodar nisso aí. Ah lá. Mano, isso aí é muito roubado. Quem já fez isso aí? Aí aqui acabou, né? 96, 97, 98, 100. GG, mano. 3 a 1. 3 a 1, mano.
Bando de Lucas here in the semis.
E os caras ri, E vai rindo, tá felizão. Vai rindo que tá felizão. Adiantou nada. Era uma Meg, mano, a Willow apanhou ali. Meg é Meg, né, mano? Queimar mãozada. Passaram o trator no jogo? Passaram o trator, mano. Agora é VT contra Fire, né? É VT contra Fire, mano. Mano, na minha opinião, tinha como juntar, pegar tipo o Fire, Caio Dog e Motep. Mano, eu acho que o melhor time do Brasil não tá formado. O melhor time do Brasil eu acho que é Fire, Motep e Caio Dog, não?
Just more creative ideas that Clash had not prepared to face. And I can absolutely respect that. But I think you also need to be
melhor time do Brasil é Fire, Motep e Caio Dog. Na minha opinião, né, mano? Será que é ou não é?
To a point where I don't know if they need to go for those sort of crazy drafts to win. I think with a somewhat even draft and maybe a win condition here and there, they could have taken this match. But it just wasn't the case here, and I think their approach may have to, you know, go.
Eu vou torcer pro time do safado. O Fire e o Motep? Fire e Motep faz time em campeonato oficial, mano. Isso aí eu não concordo, não. Fire e Motep VTzinho. Mano, o VTzinho e Caio Dog e Motep ano passado foi o melhor time do Brasil. E na eleição, na votação, na disputa de melhor jogador, o Caio Dog foi eleito o melhor jogador do ano passado. O Caio Dog ano passado foi eleito o melhor jogador do Brasil, mano. Aí, será que o VTzinho é melhor que o Caio Dog? Sendo que o Caio Dog ganhou o título em cima do VTzinho ano passado?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really nice to see as well. We'll say they're
eu não sei, mano.
Good team, and I think Clash deserve to be up there in the top two because their roster definitely backs up the points that they've managed to gather this month.
Yeah, I feel like they've earned it. You know, you could see that they came in looking better, looking more confident.
E uma coisa que eu não sei se vazou até agora, velho. Quem que foi o jogador demitido? E quem foi o jogador contratado? Vamos supor aqui, vamos supor não, eu vou falar os fatos, ó. O Motep trocou de time e o Tufa mudou de time. Os dois trocaram de time, correto? Correto. Um dos dois foi contratado e um dos dois foi demitido. Qual dos dois jogador foi contratado e qual dos dois jogador foi demitido? Entre Motep e Tufa, quem foi demitido? Entre Motep e Tufa, quem foi demitido, mano?
Even though it was a 3-1, I feel like it was a more convincing match than Clashes that was against Bando de Lucas, as you guys may have just watched. So Super Renegados, Bando de Lucas are out for this monthly final. Zest
Zest contra Kelesh. Ninguém sabe, eu também não sei, mano. Eu não sei, mano.
Predictions-wise as well, this is pretty much what both the casting desk and everyone at home were not necessarily hoping for, but at least expecting to see.
Quem eu voto? Eu votei igual esses caras aí, mano. É a Zest, pra mim, eu acho que ganha. Eu acho que ganha, mas os dois têm chance de ganhar. Os dois times têm jogador que sabe jogar, pô. Mas, na minha opinião, a Zest é melhor. Motep e Fire são bons jogadores, mano. Tu e o Biel, mano. A gente vai jogar, a gente vai gravar jogando, passando a fome e vai mostrar pro pessoal que tem como jogador horroroso ganhar, mano. Aí se ganhar e vocês é menor de idade, vocês não podem falar não.
you know, so some of the players with the most experience. Those guys,
aí tu vai de Grey.
strong for a very long time.
Tu vai de Grey, o Biel vai de... vai de El Primo. O Biel vai de El Primo e eu vou de Frank.
Huge match. Both these two teams, but Zest would like to keep their crown. No doubt about it. The winners of March, the winners of February. They hope to be the winners.
Tá me chamando de horroroso? Não, pô, eu acho que o Biel que ia passar fome, na moral, velho. Em campeonato, eu acho que o Rafa ia se dar bem porque o Rafa escuta. O Rafa escuta e segue a estratégia, o Biel não. O Biel é teimoso e escolhe o que vem na telha dele, mano. Na minha opinião, se formar um time, eu acho que o Biel passa fome. O Biel ia passar fome e o Rafa ia ser o melhor jogador. É a opinião de time, organização, quem se dá bem é quem escuta. Mesmo sendo bom, se você for teimoso, você perde, mano. Você não pode ser teimoso, mano.
Wow, 51% to 49. It's a very, very close one. It's actually the way that we kind of wouldn't expect. With Zest winning both February and March monthly finals, you kind of expect them to have quite a significant lead in this poll. But Clash are actually edging it by
49 a 51. Os caras votou na Kelesh, os caras é doido. A Kelesh ganhou na votação. Vamos ver na live enquete quem ganha. Quem ganha, vamos ver. Zest ou Kelesh? Eu acho que a Zest ganha. Mas dá pra empatar isso aí, né? Ó, Tep Coelhão. Gus é bom. Qual que é o mapa? Essa estrela. A Meg não tá banido, mano. Ué, a Meg não tá banida, o Grey tá. A Max tá banido, o Brock tá. O Chic Grom tá. Tem o Sprout. O Tufa vai pegar Sprout. O Tufa vai pegar Sprout. Se for o mapa que eu tô pensando, o Tufa vai pegar Sprout. F. Os caras não deixou o Sprout passar pro Tufa, mano. F, Sprout do Tufa. Esse é o mapa aberto ou fechado? Se for aberto, Nani vai, mano. Nani, Belly, Pipe. Se for fechado, é Penny. É Penny. Se for fechado é Penny, mano. Se for o aberto é Nani, Belly ou... Aí, ó, Belly é o aberto, pô. É o mapa aberto. Tufa é mono Sprout, sim. O Tufa é mono lançador na ideia, Matheus. Se passa um lançador e a comp é favorável pra ter lançador, o Tufa pega lançador. Qualquer lançador que passar que é favorável pro time, ele pega. Você pode reparar nisso aí. Sempre. Tá vendo? Pegou Barley. Se o lançador favorece o time dele, ele pega lançador, mano. Aqui é metaforando, mano. É H5 no lábio, G6 no rosto. Levantou o olho esquerdo, sinal de raiva. E vai indo. Compensa comprar o passe da Marci. Da Marcié. Vou chamar ela de Maísa, mano. Da Maísa, mano. Nossa, mas que nome feio, velho. Maíse. Maisie. Compensa comprar todo passe, mano. Ainda mais agora que tem a nova moeda, né? Vou chamar de Maísa, mano.
Pushing forwards, really closing the distance. Pekka's one shot still, but BTZM runs after him all the way into his spawn. And obviously that's going to be a very short-lived push as he ends up going down. Kyodog is slow.
O Pekka tá dando autofire.
Somehow finds Motep and the healing tonic from
O Pekka tá dando autofire, mano. Mano, não é possível, velho, que os caras tá dando autofire assim do nada mesmo. Mas na moral...
Not going to last very long if they're not able to get out of the spawn with good time. Minute left and Clash surely have to get a kill if they're still in this position, but Sproutwell's there and it's kind of stopping Kyodog from pinching.
Compensa mais comprar o passe ou a skin do Brock? Aí você tá de sacanagem, né? A skin, pô, a skin dá mais de 200 de dano. Capa. Você pega a skin e o raio já dá mais dano, mano.
I think he's still quite a couple of shots away from his super, which is an interesting decision considering how little time is left.
3-2.
Feel like he might even still have a gadget after that. Nevertheless, Zest still in the driver's seat. Clash are going to be the ones that have to initiate a push. The bounce from the bell is not quite going to get
5-2.
but Firecrow will find Kyodog. And Zest are now ahead by 3 stars. BTZM finally has a mortar in place. Well, that's going to be tricky to remove from this position. Motep can't quite reach it for now.
Travou. Matou. 6-8. 8. F. 8-6.
But it's going to be Zest at the end of the day that win by 2 stars.
Really nice plays from Zest, to be fair. Good defense, and it was really just solid all round. They didn't really let the pressure that Clash were bringing to the table make a difference, and when they had the opportunity to pinch them down when they overextended, when they wanted these kills, they took advantage of it. There was a
Mas você sabia que tem skin que tem erro mesmo? Algumas skins lançadas no LoL e no Brawl tem erro de animação que faz com que a skin tenha mais range e mais velocidade dependendo da skin. Ou seja mais lenta também, ou menos alcance, dependendo. É erro de programação, mano. Já teve muita skin no LoL que fez isso. Tipo, tem skin que faz o boneco ficar mais gordo. Aí o oponente acerta mais fácil. Tem skin que faz o boneco ficar mais magro. Eu não tô falando brincando não, tô falando a verdade mesmo. Tem jogo que não sabe fazer skin direito e favorece a skin, mano, sem querer. O LoL já fez muito isso sem querer. O Brawl eu não vi ainda. Ela está boa no meta? Tá usável, mano. Ela é usável. F Motep.
Really nice stuff from Clash to kind of take them down and stop them from pushing up, and without that thrower up in the mix, they're not going to be able to do as much.
Motep needs to assist with taking down this mortar because it's being a real problem, and Kyodog connects
5-0
to Firecrow. Hopes his second gadget in the process as well, but kill is a kill, and now it's 5 stars.
Sim, o projeto do cuspido da Pipe é maior, é. Isso aí é tristeza, mano. O jogo não pode fazer isso, não. Acessório. Era pra usar o acessório do Fire. 7-3, aqui acabou. 1-1, mano, empatou. Morreu. 12-3.
Clash are going to extend the lead to 12-3 by the end of the game, even things out here in Bounty, and after the first game they had really good control, but they weren't able to get a lot done. I'm sure they'll be pleased about the control they were able to have in that one and do the complete opposite and just play the defensive, and that seems to be the strategy that's working between these two teams.
Ufa, carregando. É o Barley, né, mano? E olha que o Motep tem vantagem, mano. O Sprout tem vantagem no Barley, só que ele não sabe aproveitar essa vantagem.
Pekka's overextension gets punished by counter.
O Motep tem mais range, mano. Só que ele não tá sabendo aproveitar isso.
Clash are leading by 1 star.
Yeah, a few little bounce and sprout shots there. Good connections from Fycro there as well.
Tá 3-2.
Not sure how well he's going to be able to use it in a map like this. Not really in the best of positions to be able to push up and get some damage down, but Motep not having the best match against his Barley, and I thought it would be completely different. He's getting pushed back and his teammates are getting punished because of it.
O Gus é Brawl muito bom, mano. Sério.
Motep just not able to get the positioning without any walls helping him.
Yeah, it's not easy to retake as Sprout. My assumption as well was kind of that, you know, they would put up a better fight for the blue star in the early game.
O Horus dava dano atrás da parede. 7-4.
Games 2 and 3 have been very different. 3 stars now favoring Clash. Pekka, incredibly low HP, forced to fall back and heal up so he can come back healthy to the next fight. Motep is in trouble. Fycro very aggressive. I don't know if this is gonna pay off. He does get a kill.
10-6.
Going down, and it's still 4 stars in favor of Zest of Clash.
Quem tá ganhando? Aqui é Leste tá ganhando.
He's gonna go down. Motep falls to the Penny Mortar, and that's gotta feel bad at this point in the game. 30 seconds left on the clock, and Zest are down by like 8 at this point.
16-6, aqui acabou.
To a 10-star lead, there's surely no
aqui acabou, mano.
all the kills in the world, then only just be able to bring it back, and not able to get these
Morreu
shots
ainda.
through. Pekka's not finding the bounces. Motep falls as well, and now this has got to be over for
20-6.
It is. Clash not able to. I mean, Zest not able to get the work done, and Clash finish things off.
Foi a live que zicou, mano. 75% votou na Zest. A live zicou, mano.
Clash in a fantastic mood already. One step in.
Nem foi eu, foi a live, mano. 75% do pessoal da live votou na Zest. A Zest perdeu, tá certo. Acho que o craque vai ser o Caio Dog.
They've been looking much better throughout the year, at least the early bits of the year. This month we may crown a new champion here for South America East. As Clash.
Esses dois são os dois melhores times, mano, do Brasil. Na minha opinião. Os dois têm chance de ganhar.
You know, we thought Zest looked the best coming into this, and after the semi-finals, we thought the exact same as well. Clash didn't seem as convincing as Zest did, and you could argue that they even had a bit of a tougher opponent. So, not really the best look for Zest so far in this first
Foi
game.
você, não foi eu não, foi a live. Foi a live, mano.
Some great defense, but Clash quickly learned the strategy, quickly took advantage of it, and it paid off for them as well.
Yeah, I think their early game was just so much stronger, you know. Their fight for the blue star was so much more convincing, and there was pretty much no coming back from that afterwards.
Vocês pegaram as premiação do site? Isso aqui, ó. F, aí a live foi embora. Vocês pegou essas premiação aqui? Se não pegou, mano, ainda tá valendo.
I mean, Clash, they didn't have to be aggressing nearly as much, because once that blue star was taken, once the early game was theirs, Zest were unable to gain any ground and put any sort of pressure onto them.
A live é sua, você é o culpado. Eu tô com 2.300 pontos.
Yeah, I mean, talking about unbreakable walls, this map has a lot of them as well, and it's quite altered.
Até a noite você pega 3.000.
Or at least seemingly in the APAC region yesterday, it was a lot of those throwers, and yeah, we're gonna see the Barley and the Dynamite already banned out instantly.
Chasmac BR acabou, a organização acabou, o jogador ainda tá aí, mano. A Chasmac e a Zest só mudou a organização. Só mudou o nome, mano. Os jogadores mesmo. Qual site? Aqui, ó. E aí, Daniel, como é que você tá, mano? Esse site aí, ó.
I much prefer it in BRAWL than in Hot Zone, where we did see it earlier.
Tô com 10 pontos, F.
But now I'm
Willow e Bia
wonder, you know, if maybe they
no
rank
futebol.
somewhat highly compared to other regions,
Stu.
since we did see it already earlier. Stu is going to be joining the ranks of Zest, and I do like that pick.
Eu não sei qual que é o mapa.
I mean, just, you know, get some aggression, potentially some wall
Bane o
breaks as
Barley
well,
Dyna.
speed zone. Overall,
Passou.
whichever way you go, it's a lot of utility that you bring onto your team,
Carleto.
and versatility
Vai ver o NA também em live? Eu acho que não, Matheus. Eu vou fazer o campeonato lá no combate. Eu acho que o NA vou ver live não, mano. Eu tô com 700 pontos, vai demorar pra eu zerar. Nada, pô, até mês que vem tu pega os 4.000 pontos. É só ver mês que vem, mano. Se você ver mês que vem, você pega 4.000 pontos. Eu acho que em um mês você pega 4.000 pontos, mano. É só ver um mês, mano. Colette, Bia e Willow. 4K é 4.000. Cada mês aumenta 1.000, mano. Esse mês é 3.000, mas mês que vem é 4.000.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think it's kind of even. I do actually kind of like the Willow if it can prevent Stu from getting supers, if it can prevent RT from getting supers, staying behind those walls and getting the damage, then I think it can be
muito bom aqui. RT é bom. A Willow, eu não sei se a Willow é boa aqui não, mano. Eu acho que a Zest vai ganhar. A Zest ganha aqui, mano, chutando. Vai ficar 1 a 1 isso aqui. Ou não. 1 a 1, confia no 1 a 1. Valeu, William, brigadão, mano. Comprar um pão de queijo daqui a pouco. Comprar um pão de queijozão. Quem ganha skin do coach no torneio vai receber ela quando? Quinta-feira, mano. Quinta-feira. O jogo só vai liberar a skin quinta-feira. Carleto matou? Matou é nada, ultou, velho. A Willow cautera a ult do Carleto. O que você acha dessa recompensa? Muito baixa. Muito pouco, mano. Tinha que ser mais. Na minha opinião, tinha que dar mais coisa, velho. Daí eles dão muita pouca coisa.
Great shots by Ficro there as well, and a very right-centered push from Zest here, finally making the push in too for trying to get another super, but this time it's not going to happen.
Carleto matou a Willow.
Kyodog and possibly had an opportunity down the left there to try and slot the ball, and we're going to try and wait it out and play his favorable match against RT the best he can to start with.
Kyodog goes for his super, but gets punished. Zest take the man advantage, but was Mota below HP and good positioning from Tufa.
Tá 0 a 0 ainda. O Tufa joga certinho de lançador, mano. Ele não avança e não morre, não dá dano, não dá ult. Ele só ganha o lado dele. Morreu. Ele ganha o lado dele de boa, tá vendo? Ele joga no iPad? Não, eu jogo no celular. iPad é muito caro.
Yeah, and usually I'd say Zest, they probably have a little bit of a better comp regardless of the B, but with these unbreakable walls, they've got the Willow still, and that's going to be very, very strong. Supers quite heavily on the side of Clash here.
Acabou, hein, mano, vai ser 1 a 0.
Left-hand side, Gotcha Gadget going to be popped to the super from Kyrog, finishes him off as well.
Ou não, ZK.
Kind of low, and they've got to avoid feeding him
ZK, mano.
This could be quite dangerous. Ficro now connecting some shots as well, and the Gadget pops straight onto the B also, but this position from Clash and the supers
ZK, mano. Pra mim, a Zest ia ganhar e eles estão tomando um pau. A Bia, quando abre o mapa, ela é muito boa. Aqui acabou, mano. O VTzinho vai ultar. Ultou. Matou o Autofire. Autofire de novo. Autofire. Acabou. Paulo faz uma conta iniciante e faz uma série em live. Mano, eu fiz a conta do Bopo. Eu peguei platina na liga com uma conta do zero, jogando só de Bo. Eu fiz 30 a 0 em live. Eu joguei 30 partidas na conta e ganhei as 30. Jogando só de boa na liga. Tá lá no canal, mano, o vídeo lá.
And pass to Mota. Mota gets it through into the net, and Zest actually was an early goal this time around. We'll be picking up the early advantage.
Yeah, that's probably what needed as well, because it seemed like Zest had the control throughout the last game. Nice super there.
A ult da Colette cautera a ult do Carleto também. Segunda live é 5 da manhã. Tem que ver a hora que lança a liga, mano. Eu não sei que hora que lança a liga. Ou é 5 ou é 6 horas da manhã.
Zest start pushing out. They have much better control now. VTZM goes for the slow, connects onto fire. Chromotype is low. A nice pickup from Caradog on the right side. And suddenly, there's not much of a push left here for Zest. Clash.
Loud Pen Kabum. Red Canids. Mano, eu nem acho que é a organização que traz visibilidade pro jogo. Na ideia, quem traz visibilidade é o jogo. Organização, eu acho que não faria o jogo aumentar. O que faz o jogo aumentar é o que o jogo faz de novo. Se o jogo não sabe lançar as coisas, não sabe trazer público pro jogo, não tem campeonato de jogo. O jogo tem que aprender a divulgar o seu próprio jogo. GG. Empataram 1 a 1, mano.
Yeah, Tufa missed the super onto the spinning Carl, which, to be fair, is not an easy one to connect in general. I personally, but again, I'm not nearly as good as the game.
Mas é, pô, se o jogo vai mal, se o jogo não tem jogador e o jogador tá parando de jogar, não vai ter público em campeonato, porque o jogo tá caindo. E o Brawl tá caindo há anos. E os caras não arrumam isso, velho. O Brawl não tá evoluindo, o Brawl tá caindo, mano. Pra ter público em campeonato, o Brawl tem que evoluir e não cair, velho. Nossa, se usasse o acessório ia dar dano nos 3, cara.
This is looking incredibly winnable for Clash, but the HP situation is quite dire and they're forced to fall back.
Yeah, that was yet another miss by Tufa there, just maybe being a little bit uncautious with them, but he does get that kill. Pekka's going to clean up top though, and has got another one in hand. Needs to try and use it, but Motep trying to bait it out at the same time with that speed zone. Not really finding a lot from it. Still 0-0, and we know when it was like this in the first game that Clash.
Que horas vai ser o torneio? Quando acabar o Brasil aqui, mano. Quando acabar esse jogo, né, na real. Quando acabar esse jogo aqui, eu fecho a live e abro a live do torneio.
It's only the B left in defense, and so far, it's looking like probably the most even game yet, as both teams have had.
É a 6 que reseta. Então a live começa às 6 da manhã. Live 6 da manhã amanhã, mano. 6 da manhã, que tristeza, velho. Hoje eu morri pra acordar 11h20, 11h30. Imagina eu acordar 6 da manhã. E tá difícil acordar 11, imagina 6. E como participa do torneio, é só ficar na live, mano. Ficar na live e entrar na sala. Se você entrar na sala e ganhar a sala, você vai pra final. Eu vou fazer a regra. Fazer a regra não, eu vou colocar no chat depois. Baniram Grom? Eles baniu o Dyna e Barley. Baniu o Grom não. Não baniu o Grom e não baniu o Sprout. Baniu só Barley e Dyna. Aqui acabou. Acabou, mano. Zest, GG.
And it is going to be Zest at the end of the day that will pick up this BRAWL set. And now suddenly we got a grand final.
Pra que jogar quando lança, não pode ser depois? Pode ser, pô. Só que a ideia de criador de conteúdo, mano, tem tanto canal de criador de conteúdo que os caras roubou as minhas ideias tudo, mano. É tanto criador de conteúdo que pegou minhas ideias e faz minhas ideias hoje, que não tem conteúdo no Brawl, velho. E se eu me atrasar a fazer algo novo, os caras vai lá e copia, mano. Aí chega um cara novo na live e fala, não, Paulo, tu faz a mesma coisa que o outro cara faz, que na ideia que o outro cara me copiou.
Nice stuff from them, but I mean, Tufa, he did miss several supers, and the ones that he hit just weren't influential.
É tristeza, mano.
I can see the idea, and it's definitely not like Oh my god, crazy pick. Willow is here.
Como assim roubou sua ideia? A ideia de ser a primeira pessoa a pegar a skin da liga. A ideia da pessoa fazer live jogando a liga.
But then the execution needs to be just far superior, and it just wasn't quite the case here. Firecrow with 13 kills, that's more than both.
Fazer live liberando o Brawl e jogando com ele até a classe 25.
Fairly solid as well, but it was really Dog that shined on that front. Clash.
Vou apostar quanto que segunda vai ter pessoa fazendo live da mesma coisa que eu tô falando agora. Ninguém faz live de liga? Não faz, né? Começou na liga passada. Os caras começaram a me copiar na liga passada da liga. Mas faz parte, né? O Brawl não tem conteúdo. O Brawl não tem tanta ideia. É, os caras têm que copiar a ideia. Aposto um Corsa e meio. Live não pode ter, mas vai ter vídeo, mano. Vai ter vídeo, certeza. Alguém vai fazer vídeo falando assim: fui o primeiro a liberar a skin da liga. Eu aposto um Corsa com tu, mano. Eu aposto um Corsa com tu, velho. Quem vai perder o Corsa? Eu ou tu? Certeza que alguém vai fazer um vídeo falando: fui o primeiro a liberar a skin da liga. That's pretty much, you know, one of the reasons why Polly is pretty good here too, because eu não acho que é uma cópia, eu acho que é uma tradição. Ué, tradição que só eu fazia há 3 anos e o pessoal começou a fazer esse ano? Como é que é uma tradição sendo que só uma pessoa faz desde o início e o resto começa a fazer agora? Isso não é tradição, mano. Tradição é quando você faz desde da ideia começar, mano.
Well, 8-bit's going to be the next pick from Clash, and I do kind of like it a little bit slow, and obviously Bonnie's going to be able to hit quite a lot of the shots and get the jump off, and if Meg can get control, then 8-bit's going to be a little.
Eu gostei da skin da liga, mas agora é 5.000 pontos. Perdeu a graça, mas sempre foi 5.000 pontos. Não era 5.000, né? Era 2.500, mano, 2.500 pontos. Só converteu a moeda, pô. Só mudou a moeda, mano. E dobrou o valor. Baniu Colette, Corvo, Eve, Amber, Max e Carleto.
Yeah, I personally don't really like it. Especially against those brawlers, I feel like it just isn't necessarily the most influential pick. But then again,
8-bit, Griff, Penny, Maggie.
I do like Lola. I mean, I prefer the draft on the side of Zest. I wouldn't mind the draft from
Clash fazia ano passado, mas ano passado eu não joguei Brawl.
Is just not the strongest at the moment, and I'm just struggling a little bit to see what sort of value they're hoping to.
Eu comecei a fazer isso quando lançou a liga, mano. Foi 2020? 2020, mano, 2021. Foi 2021, mano. Ano passado acho que eu não joguei Brawl não, velho.
You know, Lola's DPS is probably one of the better answers to that. And if you can keep the matchups right, then there's still a very, very good chance of them winning. But I will say, Penny's going to hit hard against pretty much all of these brawlers.
Yeah, you make a very good point. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to play very distant from his ego, which is something we've seen before.
Megzão no roubo, dá muito dano, né? E ela volta com o robô toda hora, mano. Eu acho que Meg no roubo, nesse roubo aqui, funciona muito bem também. Agora essa nova moeda é mais difícil de ganhar. Não é não, é mais fácil, mano. Essa nova moeda é mais fácil. Tu ganha ela no passe, mano. Tu continua ganhando ela na liga, tu continua ganhando ela subindo o troféu e tu agora ganha a mais no passe, velho. Essa nova moeda é mais fácil de ganhar do que a antiga.
Motep is very low HP, but he's able to reposition and maybe start healing back up. We'll do so very slowly. Tufa looking to push up as well. They're accepting the base race here despite
a Penny passou.
quite a big heads up.
A Penny cautera a Lola.
he is now, and that
O
makes
passe pago.
quite a decent
Mas quem não
difference
compra
when
o
it comes
passe,
to
mano?
DPS, is the mech is gonna get so much more damage done onto the safe. Just trying to catch up, but
A cada 2 passes você ganha um de graça, mano.
I mean, they are catching up, but with that body respawning, it slowed them down quite a lot. Fycro out of mech now, and both Clash members are on
Quem
the
não
safe.
compra o passe e gasta as gemas é burro.
37% down, left
Na minha
on
opinião.
Zest safe, but Clash, they're only on 17. They're slowly catching up. Someone needs to be pinching
Todo
up to
passe,
fail
mesmo
Mecha.
sendo
Eventually,
feio,
Fycro looks like
tendo um
he's
Brawl
gonna do the jump
horroroso,
forward,
vale a
but
pena
down
comprar,
here.
mano.
And Zest are just over-aggressive. They need
Não
to just
importa
get the
se o Brawl é
defense
bom ou
gradually,
ruim.
and it looks like we might
Todo
see a
passe vale a
comeback in
pena.
Clash.
yeah, I mean, some misplays and some poor decisions from Zest, and some
17-0.
are popping off, take down the safe, and take game number 1 with it as they take over the lead here in Heist.
Well, into the
Mas
third game
agora
now,
tu não
CG
tem que
does come out on
gastar
top of this one,
gema
whether
em
it's Zest or
skin
Clash,
e
and it's a
prioriza o
big
passe.
game. Clash
Mas
are
você
looking happy after that
nunca
win. Like
gasta
I
gema
said,
com
you
skin,
know,
mano.
I was saying before, when they take a loss,
Mano,
they seem to go down, but
desde
clearly
a
the
época que
opposite to
lançou
when
o
they win,
passe, tu
they're
nunca
smiling
pode
and
gastar
it's
gema
almost
com
pretty much
skin,
even
velho.
Stevens at this
Nunca.
point, so it's not like
Quem
they're
gasta
really
gema com
incredible
skin, eu já tô
stuff.
falando, velho. A pessoa tem um problema aí, pô. Você nunca tem que gastar gema com skin, você tem que gastar gema com passe, velho.
Very aggressive. No, C8, is not gonna
A
be
cada 2
as
passes você ganha um de
powerful
graça.
without the damage booster, but powerful enough
Quem
with
compra
the
skin
help of
com gema é
Kyodon to
maluco.
still take him
É
down.
doido, doido, doido.
The power booster, the damage booster rather, is available. And Kyodon gets Firecrow outside of his mech, but Kyodon gets outside of existence.
Yeah, a little bit of damage coming down now as well. Fycro is going to go down, and Tufa just getting this mortar up, establishing it in the same position as last time, and Pekka.
Sim, Lucas. Mesmo se você odiar o Brawl do passe, você compra o passe. Não importa se o Brawl é bom ou ruim. Skin da habilidade.
Now Pekka gets reset on his healing, which will slow down the progress Zest can do when it comes to retaking the mid.
Não comprei esse, então vou comprar o próximo, vai. Tu vai ter gema. Se você não gastou as gemas comprando skin, tu vai ter gema pra comprar o próximo. Tu ganha, acho que é 90 gema por passe, mano.
The regular brawler, so that doesn't really help. Motep jumps in, gets a kill into Tufa, but they're already 63% behind, and Kyodon is able to get a nice super off.
100-30. Empatou, hein, mano. Acho que vai ficar 2-1. Empatou não, né? Tá 1-1, vai ficar 2-1.
57% lead now in favor of Clash.
O VTzinho tem todas as skins do jogo, mano. Não é só do 8-bit vírus, não. Ele tem todas as skins do jogo. Ele postou um vídeo mostrando o catálogo da conta dele. Ele tem tudo do jogo, mano. A conta dele deve valer uns 6 mil, 8 mil reais, mano. Eu gostei da Maísa.
Firecrow, low HP. Jumps out of the mech now, but
a Maísa vai ser boa, eu acho. 30-50, aqui acabou. 2-1, mano.
Will be taking over the lead. They've struggled so far against Zest. They've looked like, you know, they were the second best team in the region. But today, it's their chance to
estou com 113 gema aí.
To show who the new kings of South Asia, South America, rather, on the east side, are gonna be.
Você já jogou LoL? Joguei um pouquinho, mano. Eu joguei até o nível 30. Eu joguei até o nível 30 em 2013, eu acho, 2014. Foi a época que lançou o Echo, mano. Era o Echo. Echo, o Vel'Koz também. Echo, Vel'Koz lançou. Mano, eu nem lembro que Brawl lançou, velho. Mas era a época que lançou o Echo, mano. A época que lançou o Echo e um pouquinho antes. Quando lançou o Echo, eu virei mono Echo. Eu jogava top de Echo e meio de Echo. O Echo era um Brawl não, né? Um campeão muito bom, mano. O Brawl é foda. Aí depois eu parei de jogar. 2 a 1.
Because it's a scary brawler to face, and yet it didn't really feel like, you know, they were picking around it or to try to specifically
O que você acha de jogadas paralelas? É a de zona, vai entrar na liga. Eu acho muito ruim. Eu também não gosto não, Biel. Mapa que depende do time é muito ruim. Todo mapa que divide o mapa e você depende do seu time ganhar o outro lado, é mapa ruim, mano. Não pode ser mapa muito dividido, tipo aquela outra zona que entrou lá que o Rick é bom. Aquela outra zona que o Rick é bom, que o mapa é dividido, é esculacho, mano. Porque se seu time perde um lado, você perdeu o jogo. Não depende de você ser bom, mano. Esses mapas que é dividido não vale a pena. Mapa dividido é horroroso. Pesquisa esse mapa, eu sei qual que é o mapa, é o mapa da Rosa. É o mapa que a Rosa é boa.
Clash, they want to be making this comeback and they want this world spot.
They certainly do. They were a bit behind the rest of the SA East competitors when it came to the leaderboards, when it comes to points. But they've already called out. They should be in second place now. Every point they can get is going to get them, well, not only in a safer position when it comes to making it to the last chance qualifiers at the end of the year. There is a spot straight to Worlds in this region, and they might just try to contest it.
Bom de zona era os mapas abertos, agora só tem mapa fechado, velho. O meu meta era sniper. Os caras fechou os mapas tudo, mano. Agora a maioria dos mapas da liga é fechado. Eu gostava da zona aberta, que o Nani era bom. Que a Bia era boa. O caça que era aberto, que a Nani era boa. Agora só tem fechado, mano. Agora a maioria dos mapas da liga é fechado. O meu meta é os abertos.
But I still feel like you can go Gene if you really want to, and yeah, they'll go Gene regardless. In theory, Max is somewhat of a counter, but yeah, it's more of a counter when you pick it the other way around, right? I feel like Gene still
Rufus RT, Stu, Spike, Squeak, Janete.
Careless, and even if he doesn't hit the max, anyone else is still gonna be a big problem. If they get pulled, it should be a free kill. If the teamwork is good enough, or if he has enough damage to single-handedly take them down. So I don't mind this approach from Zest. I think you can pick Gene into max. It's not necessarily ideal, but if you play it well enough, I think they can make work of it.
Yeah, well, I must say I really do like the Penny. We've seen Penny just thrive so many times throughout the monthly finals, yesterday and today during this South America as well. So really solid pick. Salty Barrel on one of these lanes, obviously going to be so strong when someone comes aggressive, splash through it, get the big damage in. It's very good. I will say with Spike kind of banned out, with Ruffs banned out, it becomes less favorable, but still can do decent work against that Ems if it keeps its range.
MZ.
Yeah, Ems is an interesting one.
MZ lateral, Max meio.
I feel like it got a bit of a rise in play time and play rate about a month to 2 months ago. But it's died down just a little bit this month, at least so far in the monthly finals. Not a bad pick though. Definitely a brawler that can still have a lot of impact, and they'll go Otis to close out this comp. I have 2 anti-tanks ready in case Zest may want to go on the more aggressive side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Otis pick.
Gênio.
Can cover a lot of this grass down one
Gênio.
Obviously with the mute as well, it's so solid. But again,
mano, eu não tenho nem ideia do que pega aqui. Eu não tenho nem ideia. Seria o Wilson. O Wilson tá liberado. Ninguém quebra a parede. Crow.
If it can get the slows in the right circumstances, pair it with the Gene pull, and as you said, Gene pull's not out of the question just because they're playing a max with a bit more mobility in the mid. You stick a slow on it, it can 100% hit, and even without one, you've got the chance anyway.
Ninguém pegou Janão, a Janete tava banida. Janete, Squeak e Spike banidos. Mano, acho que o time da Max vai ganhar, não? Vai ser 3-1. A Janete tava banida, Biel. Acho que o time da Kelesh vai ganhar, mano.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out for them. 2 gems instantly picked off the start by Kyodog, so
Max meia muito roubado.
Surely there for Tufa as well, and he cleans up that side. Will be able to do the same on the other. We're actually not going to be using the slow, and he still wins this one, even with the shield being popped. So great play from BT's.
É, mano, acho que aqui foi 3-1, hein? 3-1 acabou. 3-1 e olha no que deu.
They won't be playing the G-Mid for a second, as it was the Penny that had to hold on to the area for the time being until Firecrow would come back. They do have a gem, but Clash at 5. Even though a pull is available for Zest, Kodong has more than most brawlers the ability to try to deal with it. Tufa, not quite as mobile of a brawler in general, but still manages to very nicely
aqui acabou, mano.
That gene pull.
Aqui acabou total, 3-1.
More than be able to lock in a countdown.
Yeah, and Zest are just looking defeated. They haven't won a single lane the whole game. I'm pretty sure they haven't even got a kill yet. BTZM might be the first one who dies now, though, but Tufa cleaning up and getting some great damage down. A little phase shift away, and Pekka's going to fall as well. And now some people start to die, but not the gem carrier, sadly, for Zest. And Clash will be going on to match point in the next game to be able to take the South America East finals if they do win it.
What a solid start.
GG, mano, os caras não soube fazer comp. Todos os mapas que eu falei que os caras iam ganhar por causa da comp, ganhou. O cara não soube escolher a comp, eu acho. Toda vez que eu falei que eles iam ganhar, eles ganhou, mano. Só por causa da comp. A comp é melhor, então os caras ganham. Porque a habilidade é quase igual. A habilidade é quase igual, então a comp que favorece o time.
Yeah, well, now Kodog starting with 4 again. A little bit better for Zest this time, though. They've got one of the sides locked down. Tufa's got the other, though, and they don't really want to be feeding.
A tem morteiro.
Knockback coming through, and Kodog looking for the trade. Does get it and trying to hold this right-hand lane.
4-2.
To retake that mid than one of the sides, and VTZM coming straight down that right now.
Morreu. FMZ, ZK, mano, ZK. ZK, velho. ZK, olha no que deu, mano. 4-4, 5-4. Morreu de novo, ZK, velho. ZK. É, a zica foi boa, hein? Essa zica aí acabou, mano. 7-4. Ah, aqui acabou. Aqui acabou, mano. Nossa, velho. 1-1, mano, empatou. Ziquei a vida dos caras, hein, mano. Empatou, mano. Será que vira? Mano, mas o time da Kelesh tava melhor, mano. A comp tá melhor. Tirando essa MZ aí do abalo, que ela morreu 10 vezes pra Penny. Mano, a MZ morreu 10 vezes pra Penny. Agora ela trocou de lado. Ela tá contra... Não, é. A MZ trocou de lado.
Looking still like he's able to be doing a decent enough job on his own, and great pinch from Tufa there as well.
Tem que ser Penny contra MZ, mas só que a MZ já pegou o lado. Ah, tô. Puxa. Pelo amor de Deus, mano. Ai, que puxão horroroso. Meu Deus do céu, mano. F total. E nem pegou as gemas. Mano. Nossa, que criminoso, velho. F total, mano. Quem ganha? Quem jogar bem, mano. Quem jogar bem ganha. Quem jogar bem ganha, mano. Bicho, aqui a Zest ganhou. Empatou, mano. Empatou, 2-2. 2-2, empatou. Puxa, puxa, puxa. Pelo amor de Deus, velho. Vamos puxar o Eugênio, velho. É o Rafa de Eugênio. É o Rafa de Eugênio, mano. Matou. Errou o ataque. Nossa, mano, morreu. É o Rafa de Eugênio, mano. Morreu. Ele tem ult. Eugênio tem ult, mano. É só puxar. Puxa. Puxa. Puxa o Watts. Puxa o Watts, mano. Tá bom aí, ó. Tá bom, tá bom. O Corvo jogou errado. GG, mano. 2x2. ZK, velho. ZK, mano. Empatou. Empatou, mano. ZK os cara. Empatou, aqui acabou, mano. Empatou, velho.
Looking good in this one, and the gene pools, I mean, I kind of, you know, introduced it when we were looking at the draft. You don't necessarily have to be too scared to go gene against Max. Sure, you need to be careful.
Mas tá certo, pô. A comp horrorosa ganhou, velho. A comp que tava pior ganhou. Como assim, mano? Acho que ganhou por causa da MZ, velho. MZ perdeu o lado. É porque vale dinheiro, Lucas. O salário deles depende deles ganhar o jogo, mano. Só pra você ver aqui, ó. A diferença de salário deles aqui, ó. Ó, você vê isso aqui, ó. É isso aqui, ó. O primeiro lugar ganha 8 mil. O segundo ganha 5 mil. É tipo $1000. $1000 a mais pra cada jogador. $1000 é 5 mil reais. A diferença de salário é 5 mil reais. 5 mil reais pro primeiro e segundo lugar, mano. 5 mil reais. Só isso que tá em jogo, 5 mil reais pra cada jogador.
And it's going to be on hot zone as well. We're going to be seeing splits. Obviously, the only unbreakable walls are going to be in the mid here. Did you see that? Obviously, really solid combo of the Colton B coming down, but with that mid portion of the map being unbreakable, it definitely becomes a little bit less viable. And I'd imagine we'll see quite a lot of those tanky units.
Banir Rico aí, Rufus, Rico. Tem o Tufa, né? O Tufa vai de lançador, 100%. O Tufa vai de lançador, senão eu sou um Corsa, mano.
I'm not sure how I feel about that at all on split.
Os caras vão ficar ricos só de jogar? Ah, eu não sei, mano. Eu não sei, não. Porque o trabalho deles é jogar. Se eles não ganham, eles não ganham. Se eles não ganhar no jogo, eles não ganham dinheiro. E o trabalho deles é o dia todo treinar e jogar, mano. Rico tá banido? Não tá. O Rico tá open. O que tá banido é Bia, Penny e RT. E aí, Raquel? Grey? Grey, mano. O cara pegou Grey por causa do lançador do Tufa. Eu tenho certeza que esse Grey é pra cauterar o lançador do Tufa, mano. Queria ter esse trabalho, mas você pode ter, mano. O que depende de você ter esse trabalho é você querer tentar ter esse trabalho. Tipo, eu queria ser presidente, mas tu não tá tentando ser presidente, pô. Tipo, falar é fácil, tentar é outros 500. Porque qualquer um pode tentar. Qualquer um pode tentar, mano. Griff, Max.
Yeah, I am too. We'll see what the final brawler pick is going to be for Clash, and then right after the one for Zest.
Mas eu sou ruim, é só treinar, mano.
An interesting draft.
Olha o Rafa aí, o Rafa, um ano atrás, o Rafa era horroroso. Agora o Rafa já tá top, eu acho que top 200 Brasil. O Rafa, um ano atrás, ele era horroroso no Brawl, horroroso. Pra mim, eu acho que ele tá top 200 já. Só de ver a live, o cara pegou top 200, mano.
I don't know if I can see Zest win this. It's going to have to be a very, very good last pick.
Colette.
It's going to be Colette, which...
Colette pra cauterar a Meg.
I mean, it doesn't really have any fantastic matchups. It does a pretty decent amount of damage to deal with Meg inside of her Meg, but when it's Meg outside of her Meg, suddenly the damage is not quite as valuable, and even though it's still fine, I don't feel like it's necessarily.
Não, o Biel começou a live, vi a live top 200 e agora ele tá top 1000. O Biel capotou, velho. O Biel capotou pegando a Meg dele. Agora que a Meg tá no meta. Agora que a Meg tá no meta, o Biel não joga de Meg. E olha no que deu. Eu jogo há 3 anos e não melhoro. Mano, vê a live, mano. Se você vê a live uma semana, tu já melhora. Se você vê o que eu falo, o que eu faço, o que eu faço errado, tu melhora, mano.
Zones, not really dying to overextend, and to get a TP eventually from VT Zim. It's not quite enough to capitalize. There's still a player from Clash in the zone.
Essa skin da Pan é da hora. É muito boa essa skin da Pan. É a melhor skin dela, né? Não teve lançador por causa do Grey, foi. Os caras não pegou lançador por causa do Grey.
2 minutes left and it's still close, but
tá empatado, mais ou menos, né? Teio nessa skin. Olha o dragãozão na mão dela, pô. Ó da hora o dragão na mão dela.
Speed's there and the push forward, but Moto did just secure some more percentage. Kaodog gonna go for it now, but can't even get past Pekka, never mind get onto the zone and get past those who were respawning. Pekka trying to push towards 2 for now, not only got Giganto's
Nossa, aí morreu.
the TP out, but actually finds his teammate TPing in and dominating. A little bit of a bait and switch there from Zest, and it's looking beautiful for him.
Errou o ataque. F, Motep.
I just don't know if they're able to fend off Zest for the rest of this game.
Botou errado, isso aí foi autofire. Mano, o Pekka dá muito autofire e eu tô maluco.
They don't need a whole lot near Zest to get to match point. Clash already had one. Zest.
Mano, o Pekka dá muito autofire, mano. Não é possível.
Right now, the pads on top of the right side is not looking too bad here for Zest.
80-70. 80-70. Morreu. 90-80. 80-90. E acabou.
I don't know if that will do it as Firecry and Motep lock it in for Zest, and that's match point.
Definitely a good look.
Ó a virada. Ó a virada vindo, mano.
Little by little towards the end, but not enough to be able to take the win back. Match point to Zest now, and they might be winning this one yet again and taking 3 months in a row of monthly finals, but Clash, they're gonna want this game.
Zest tem vantagem, tem. O Grey é muito bom aqui, mano. O Grey com o TP dele ajuda muito. E a Colette cautera a Meg.
Zest. Off the bat, taking a big.
O Griff é mais ou menos, eu acho que o Griff é ruim, mano. Eu não sei se o Griff é bom aqui, não.
Once he's full HP, might want to go for a TP play, especially now that he gets a tag. Yeah, he's going for the finish, but nice bait and switch here as Kaodog comes back as reinforcement and ensures that.
A Max é muito boa, a Meg é bom também, só que a... Só que o Griff não consegue jogar, tá vendo? O Griff não tá conseguindo jogar. Tá empatado.
Percentage-wise, we're quite even, but I think that Zest have quite a considerable amount more on their own side, whereas Clash, they managed to invade quite a bit.
Morreu.
Yeah, it does seem that way, and It is 1% defining it at the moment, but now it's extended a little bit more by Clash. Motep's going to TP in. Needs to deal with two, but at the same time, got to TP out, got to get away.
70-70.
Before he can get out. Now Clash looking really, really good to be able to take this to a double match point. Little Pam turret placed down defensively.
Empatou? Empatou é nada, os três tá defendendo, mano. O Grey vai pro outro lado lá. 86-70. Matou, acabou. Empatou, mano. 1-1, velho. 1-1, mano. Os dois times são muito equilibrados. É quase o mesmo nível de jogador. É mesmo nível de jogada, mano. Quem ganhar, ganhou.
Whoever takes the swap will be taking it all. Starting things off, then we need to see if they're going to be able to get the same kind of breaks as they did in the previous one. VT's in breaking up the grass, not the wall, to start things off, and we're seeing the Grey over the right-hand side this time, and moving P.E.K.K.A over to the left. And it's going to be a quick response from Tufa as he rotates to the right.
20-16.
P.E.K.K.A pops again, but it's not enough. Dog takes him out, and although the toolbox is gone for Tufa, start isn't half bad for them.
O Tep tem ult. Ele não pode ultar na Meg. Ele ultou na Meg. Mano, ele tem dano pra matar uma Meg, mano. Eu não sabia que o Grey era tão forte assim, não, né?
50-40. Fully secured on this right-hand side now for Zest, but 12% also added on top of that the left-hand zone as well.
60-50. Matou. Ultou à toa. Morreu? Não matou. 80-70. 80-70.
Yeah, Tufa playing this mid, not knowing which way they're going to go.
Aqui acabou.
TP in, and then Motep's going to go for it as well. They're in the lead as well.
Aqui acabou. GG. Zest ganhou e olha no que deu.
So they're not going to have that tank just yet, but it seems like they're all giving up. Not a good situation for them to be in. VT, Zim and the boys are going to go down, and Zest are going to be
Zest, mano.
of the sub-region of South America East in the Brawl Stars Championship.
A mochila, mano. A mochila, velho. Isso aí é meme demais, velho.
Oh baby, a triple for Zest. All 3 monthly
é meme demais, mano, na moral, velho.
So far this year,
é meme demais, mano.
Near perfect track record and
os caras tristão, tá vendo? Tristão, menos 5 mil, mano. Ô, imagina tu perder 5 mil reais, mano, por causa de um jogo, mano. Perder 5 mil reais, mano. 5 mil por causa de um jogo. Um joguinho que tu errou um ataque, mano. Errou um ataque e custou 5 mil reais. 5 mil reais. Eu vou abrir a live do torneio da skin, mano. Quem quiser ir pra lá. Eu vou gankar eu mesmo, mano. Eu vou me gankar e olha no que deu. Aqui, ó. Eu vou me gankar, vou fechar a live e vou abrir de novo, mano. Vou fechar essa live e abrir a outra e vou fazer o torneio do Coach Macaco lá. Quem quiser ver, tamo junto, mano. Então valeu. E fui até.